Coffee stains and name chains. I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. LEETCODES, beast mode, 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 LEETCODES, beast mode. This is not a main thing, really I'm a coder. Coffee stains and name chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. LEETCODES, beast mode, 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 LEETCODES, beast mode.
We live, we live. All right, we got Ishaan back in. He's coming back on. LEETCODES, beast mode.
This is not a main thing, really I'm a coder.
There you go. Lighting's a little bit better. How's everyone doing today? Ishaan in the building. He's coming back on. And we're going to have we're going to have a dedicated session just talking about his stuff. I got a list of questions I want to ask him. If you have more questions you want to ask him, please just post the questions in there. What up, what up? I'll show you. I'll show you a quick preview before we hop on of what we're going to ask him. So he solved over 3,000 LeetCode questions, so we're going to ask some origins, how he evolved the skills, some of his learning systems, etc. And I'll get to that in a bit. Please ask it in the AMA, post questions so I don't lose it, because we have to get Ishaan up on here on also. Gonna have all these questions ready. How's the stream looking? How's the audio? If any audio is bad, just let me know right away. We'll fix it. Let me just verify.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. Let me check if that's a issue on my end. One sec.
Oh no, it's me.
Oh, I can hear you now. Can you see
I
me?
was just on mute.
Yeah,
I gotta see that LeetCode hat.
Yeah.
Welcome back, man.
How's it going?
I'm good. You get a good night's sleep?
I did.
We're just gonna do a quick sound check, and then you got some good sleep. Okay, now okay. All right, test, chat. Ishaan, do you want to say something quick? Check
Hello?
your
Test.
All right, chat. How's the sound? All right, everything's good. All right, let me get some water because it's gonna be a 45 minutes. Thanks for hopping on, man. Real.
Yeah, no worries.
Wait, let me adjust. I'm just gonna set everything up, and we're gonna spin this up as its own dedicated video as well. Wait, how can I go full screen here? It's all good. This is fine. Keep it casual. What'd you have for breakfast?
Just some chicken, rice, yogurt. I have to have a pretty tight diet because, again, I have a Crohn's disease, which affects my gut. So
What is
try to
that?
cook most of my food. I have an autoimmune disease called Crohn's. So my immune system attacks my small intestine and it makes
Oh.
it be really inflamed and like messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I had surgery. They cut out a 32 section of my intestine,
Oh,
sewed the two ends back together.
yeah.
So I have to be a little bit mindful of my
Dang.
diet.
Yeah, my uncle had that actually. I had an uncle who had that,
Yeah.
or he still has it.
Yeah, there's no cure.
Yeah. Hold up. I'm just gonna grab some water. Give me 2 seconds.
No worries.
And the LeetCode hat is fire. I was looking at it. It's gonna take me. I'm only at 2,000 coins.
Yeah, it helps to do well in contests. Once you start to get a little better, like you're probably gonna get a top 200 at some point, right? You got two
Yeah.
AKs, you're getting better. You earn a lot more coins that way. And then if you compete on the weekends with 2 contests and you participate in both, you get 35 coins. So you can do that. That helps.
Nice.
Yeah, I have 3.
You have 3 hats?
Yeah, well, I got one white one, and then I got a little bit dirty because I didn't wash it enough, and now it's
Yeah.
too hard to clean. So I got a second, and I got a black one. I think that's enough for now.
Yeah. Is that your favorite piece of clothing in your,
Yeah,
so you're rocking that thing everywhere. I
I wear
saw,
wear
I
it quite a
saw
lot.
Extend. I was looking at their website and then they have pictures at the offsite and you got that hat on too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm usually wearing it.
Do people at your work also grind that much LeetCode or even have the
No,
hat? Yeah.
no, we're pretty anti-LEETCODE. I mean, people have done it at our work before, but you know, not really a core focus for us. I feel like everybody's pretty good at algorithms. Like I joined my startup because I thought everyone was very smart
Yeah.
and talented, and usually if you're smart and talented, you're also probably going to be good at LeetCode.
Yeah. How'd you suss it out? How did you know that they're smart and talented?
Yeah, so I have interviewed at a bunch of companies. I had no experience and no degree. So a lot of companies tried to challenge me and ask like, why should we give you a job? And I would answer all of their questions
Yeah.
and convince them. And they'd say, okay, Ishan, here's a job. And I would have no like reason to want to join them, no belief in their team, in their product,
Mhm.
in the founders. So I said no to a lot of them. I think I turned down 6 or 7 companies. And then when I met Extend, their founders were very clearly a lot more talented and smart and thoughtful than everyone else. So I
Mhm.
joined. Like one example is our founder, Kushal.
Yeah.
He called me while on his honeymoon in Thailand in his hotel lobby at 2 a.m. And I joined early. I was second engineer.
Yeah.
And he basically said, Ishan, like, what can I do to get you to sign?
Yeah.
Like, just tell me what you need. And I felt, wow, this is a person who obviously cares a lot about what he does. He's very
Yeah.
passionate. I want to work with people like that. So that's why I joined.
That means they saw something in you in the interview too. Like this, what do you think you showed in the interview besides raw technical skills, or maybe just raw technical skills that made them really want to be like, whatever you want, come through?
Yeah. I think it's a lot of things. Like, I interviewed at a lot of startups. I felt like I would enjoy working at a startup more. They care a
Yeah.
lot about autonomy, succeeding in various things that you take on yourself. Like I was a poker player, I ran a business,
Yeah.
got really good at competitive programming, was, a lot of like small independent things. So they care a lot about that. That's one factor. I think your energy, getting along with people you're going to be spending 10,
Yeah.
12 days, 10, 12 hours a day with. Yeah,
I see.
stuff like that.
Nice. All right. Okay. We're going to hop into the actual interview. Let me just quickly share this into the Discord so everyone pulls up. Did you have plans today or you're just chilling after this?
Yeah, after this, I'm gonna clean my apartment, cook
Nice.
some more food for dinner. I have like 20 bank accounts, so I need to pay some taxes with those, because a few months ago, I was working on a small funny project where I would open a bunch of bank accounts and farm their sign up bonuses.
Shit.
But now you get a 1099 for each of them for the bank account
Oh,
bonuses. So I have to
damn.
deal with that.
That's a headache.
Yeah, do a few more coding problems, not too much, and then I'm gonna work on some agent orchestration tech and tooling, and then sleep early.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. I'm gonna start up a video. I'll give you. I already sent you kind of the list of questions, but I'll probably just give you introduction.
Yeah.
Maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit as well, and then we'll just get straight into the questions. Probably spend about like 45 minutes to 50 minutes just asking you. And then chat has stuff that they've already been sending in. I have a list of a couple things that the chat wants to hear specifically. But chat, if you want to talk about if you want specific questions asked, just go into the thing I have pinned so I don't lose it in the chat. All right. Okay, I'm gonna start it up. 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, so today we got Ishaan, and he's a LeetCode legend and currently on a mission to solve every single question on the platform. He solved over 3,000 questions now and posting his whole journey on LinkedIn. Go follow him. I'll put all the links in the description and stuff, but he also actively competes in LeetCode contests. He's top 0.05% globally. And actually, he's the 236 ranked LeetCode user, so pretty much only 235 people have solved more questions than him on the platform. Alpha Code might pull up on him soon, but some other fun facts is he has the world record, or did have the world record
Did have.
for blindfolded Rubik's Cube solving. Maybe we'll get into that as well. But yeah, his main platform is pretty much LinkedIn, where he's already grown to like 20,000 followers. He's posting every day on that, his LeetCode journey. He got the LeetCode hat and everything. But yeah, anything else you want to add?
No, that's all. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to share some thoughts. A lot of people have been asking me for tips, and I can't type out the same thing every time. So eventually, I want to make a video, but
Yeah.
maybe we can answer some stuff here, and
Yeah,
that'll help people.
we'll just get it jump started. I think you on YouTube would be perfect. Honestly, we had a few
Yeah.
conversations and yeah, people would probably like to hear from you. All right, let's start. We're gonna break this down into a few topics. We're gonna start off with sort of some of the early phases and origins of this whole LeetCode journey, and also a little bit about yourself, and then some skill evolution, how you grew your skills over time. Probably talk about some plateaus and roadblocks, things that times when you hit some roadblocks and you wanted to quit. And I think one really important thing that a lot of people want to hear about is your learning systems, because you've mastered
Mhm.
multiple things in your life, such as becoming the like a top Rubik's Cube solver and now on competitive programming. You've also done like pro poker.
Yeah, I
So
was a pretty good poker player.
yeah, so I mean, you spend a lot of time learning things, so people definitely want to know about your learning system. So let's just get straight into your origins and early phases. We're started off, since this channel is LeetCode focus. How did you first discover LeetCode?
Yeah, I'm sure I had heard of it a long time ago, even though I didn't study tech. I studied business, but it's a popular thing. I have a lot of friends who are engineers, and I had taught myself how to code from the internet. And then people said you need to do leak code to pass an interview. So I started doing a little bit of leak code, and then I just enjoyed doing it. So I did a lot more.
I see. And when around what time was that?
I think 2.5 years ago was around when I very first started like learning how to do two-sum type
I see.
type of thing. Yeah.
And in college and high school, did you know how to program already or take some classes?
No, I taught myself online like 4 years after I graduated college. I studied business, so
Mm.
not technical at all. Actually, almost failed out of business school. I was one class short from failing out.
Because you were traveling, right, for your Rubik's Cube?
I was traveling for Rubik's Cube a lot for my tournaments, and then the second half, I was just playing poker at casinos all the time. So I wasn't really present in school.
Damn, that's wild. So when you were doing lead code, what were you naturally good at and what did you kind of suck at?
I think I'm good at being organized and learning how to learn and being disciplined and focused and thoughtful in the way I practice.
Mm.
In terms of actual skills, like specific patterns or problems, I don't think I was like necessarily good or bad at anything. I mean, when you're a complete beginner, you're kind of just going to be bad at everything, and your innate ability is not really going to make so much of a difference compared to just how much you learn.
Yeah, but was there some concepts that you easily understood better, such as arrays, or did you think in graphs? Some people have natural ability or like think in
Yeah,
certain ways that might help them with questions.
I think that dynamic programming was quite easy for me. I feel like my framework for DP and the way I think about it makes it really simple. And like with DP, the difficulty for a lot of people is they don't really understand how DP works, how to implement it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the difficulty is just reaching kind of that level, being able to like code it simply, really visualize how efficient it is, how your code works, how your recursive calls work. Once you reach that level, DP is actually a really easy subject because it's very easy to validate how fast your code will run and think of your complexities and then determine whether DP is the right or wrong solution for a problem. So I think once you pass that initial hump, DP actually becomes a quite easy topic. And I feel like I picked that up pretty quickly. So
I
in my
see.
opinion, was one of my strongest topics, not anymore.
What about greedy?
Yeah, greedy is a difficult problem topic because it's somewhat ad hoc. There's less of a framework you can
Mm-hmm.
follow. My advice for people, really, I think there's one golden rule for greedy, is that a lot of people will look at a problem and they will come up with a solution that's greedy in nature, come up with an idea. I'm not saying it works. And they will say, like, I can't see why this wouldn't work. And then they will spend time coding it and submit it. And often it will fail a test case. And then they will look at the test case and then they'll say, okay, I see why this didn't work. I missed something.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad way to think about problems because there's like an infinite space of reasons why something couldn't work. You're like
Mm-hmm.
trying to prove the existence of something that you're not sure about. Um, it's not an airtight way to prove things. I think that when people do greedy solutions, they should only do greedy solutions if they can prove that it works. Otherwise, you should assume that it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think this is relevant in interviews if you are implementing a greedy solution because you don't want to spend 20 minutes coding your solution and then you submit it and it doesn't work. And now you're a little bit stressed and you're low on time. And your interviewer probably thinks you are not a very careful thinker because you missed something. So obviously there's times if you're desperate and you can't think of anything else, you can implement a greedy solution and try it. Or if you're competing in a contest, you can't think, sure, go for it. But I think that you should approach greedy problems from I need to prove this works before I can code it perspective.
Yeah. So when you see a question, how do you break down the problem? Do you start from like a brute force and then start optimizing it, or do you look for maybe a greedy solution and then figure out that it won't work and then try to come up with more solutions?
Yeah, I think it's hard to come up with a framework to just break down a generic problem. I've seen some like crazy flowcharts. Like, does this problem ask for a minimum? Go to
Yeah.
step 10, whatever. Like, that's absurd. I have no idea how people study like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a pretty bad way to learn how to solve problems. You want to think about things from first principles. So to break down problems, you want to ask yourself, can I think of a simpler version of this question first that I can think about? What are questions that I need to ask myself to be able to understand this problem more deeply? Maybe a problem reads a certain way and really, clues into a specific algorithm or technique that you might have seen before. That can be a hint. Maybe the constraints of the problem inform something. Last night's contest had what, like n less than equal to 19. So
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a more brute force-esque DP plus bit mask, some sort of solution like
Mm-hmm.
that. So there's a lot of little things you can grab onto to see how to think about a problem. But really, I think the biggest thing is ask yourself a simpler version of the question first, answer that, work from there. In a way that is like kind of like brute force and go from there. I don't really do that a lot myself.
Mm-hmm.
but it can be helpful sometimes.
Yeah, I see. That makes sense. That's how when I first learned, I was approaching it, but it really breaks down when you start working on harder questions.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what did your first 100 problems look like for you?
Yeah. So again, I couldn't do anything when I started. I had to learn how a hash map was, and I really learned like bottom bottom up. So the problem in twosome, it is optimally solved with a hash map in
Hmm.
linear time. And I learned that solution, and I spent a lot of time asking myself, like, how could a hash map possibly work in constant time? I need to understand how
Yeah,
that works. So I dug really deeply into that, and then I spent time implementing a hash map myself. This is like after problem one.
I
And I
see.
feel like a lot of people don't do that. So you need to understand all of these principles first and go up from there. Like the same thing when I learned React for front end development is how I
Hmm.
started learning how to code. I literally read like tens of thousands of lines of React source code and just
Hmm.
like understood it. I built my own front end framework from scratch before I made any website just to understand how everything works.
Yeah,
So, first 100 questions is just a lot of learning. I'm not able to solve any problem by myself, but I am learning how everything works, reading a lot of solutions, trying to just sit and think and connect the dots and make sense of everything.
I see. So you're sort of looking a layer deeper than the regular layer that people
Yeah,
look. So people would do two sum and they're, oh, hash map is O1,
right.
and then leave it as that. But you're like, what is a hash map? Why is it O1? What's the internals of a hash map that make it so that it's O1? And do you kind of follow that process for your first 100 questions?
Yeah, I mean, I still follow that process now. I think a key issue a lot of people face in LeetCode is they memorize problems, even if
Hmm.
by accident. Nobody wants to memorize problems because,
Yeah,
you know, if you interview somewhere, you start working for a few years, you leave, you want to interview somewhere else, you have to rememorize everything. That's not that's not a good way to learn. You want to understand from first principles, be able to rederive from scratch. And so the only way to do that is to be able to understand things from the bottom layers up. And you can go even deeper. You can I coded in JavaScript. JavaScript is an interpreted language. It runs on the fly in your browser or
mm,
in Node. You can learn how does that work, and go deeper and deeper until you get down to the hardware. So I even spent a lot of time doing that. Like, how do the actual machine instructions of my code execute? You don't have to go to that level of depth for leak code, but I think it's a good way to learn things in general.
so what do you think would have happened if you didn't study that deeply? Do you think that how would the next 100 questions after that been?
Yeah. I feel like I would have struggled a lot and had an issue where I would see a problem and like maybe be able to solve it or get stuck a little bit and look up a solution. And then like one day later come back to that problem and I can't solve it anymore. Which is a very imagine like frustrating process. You not being able to solve a problem you already solved because I would probably have not really understood it deeply. Like truly, if you come across a problem and you don't know how to solve it, but you've already solved it in the past, it means you did not actually learn enough from that question. So
I
I
see.
imagine that's how it would have gone.
Yeah. So how much time would you spend digging into the hash maps? Because
Yeah, I
also
spent a
for some users, it's like also they want to, maybe they have an interview coming up or something, so they want to capture breadth over depth kind of thing, and your
yeah.
focus was more on depth.
I had a long-term plan where I want to spend a lot of time learning how to code because I enjoy it and
Hmm.
understanding fundamentals. And if I like it, I'll become a software engineer. So I didn't have a tight timeline. For people who have a specific interview, maybe in a month or two, and like are maybe kind of rusty on leak code and really need to cram, I would not advise doing what I did because what I did is a very slow process. I would
Hmm.
advise they just go to their tagged questions and spam them over and over,
Yeah,
essentially memorizing them, which is not a great way to learn long term. And, uh, that's kind of a sacrifice you might need to make. If you have a meta interview in a month and, it's going to double your compensation, you really want to get in, sure, that seems appropriate to me. But for long term learning, there's better ways to go about it.
yeah. Seems like you're obsessed with learning things deeply. You don't want to
Mhm.
just know it's shallow. Is that
Oh,
something
yeah.
that's always came along? You always wanted to go all the way deep? Because a lot, there's
Yeah.
also some people who they just want to know a lot of things, but you care to just know deep about one thing.
Yeah. Maybe it's some sort of personality quirk or, like, inherent aspect of me that really enjoys that. I think there's some practical aspects. I think being really, really good at something, as opposed to being, like, pretty good at a lot of things, uh, gives you a lot of benefit in your life, a lot of ROI, which is also, like, fun and exciting. Like, right now, I'm posting my LeetCode journey. Every time I post on Reddit or LinkedIn or Threads or whatever, it blows up, which is, like, fun and exciting. People wanna see. I get a lot of nice messages about people who are inspired to
Mm,
practice more, so that's, like, a nice downstream effect of doing the same thing to a very high degree, but I'm not trying to prescribe that mentality onto people because, everybody's different. Who am I to I've only lived my life, who am I to say that other people should try to do things like that?
yeah, that makes sense. So, did you follow a structured plan, or did you just solve questions randomly?
Yeah, I did not solve questions randomly. I think that's a trap for newer solvers. You should only solve questions randomly if you have a pretty good shot at being able to solve a random question.
Mm,
You don't wanna get a random question. Maybe that random question contains, I don't know, graphs, some sort of graph problem, and you haven't done that topic or practice it. There's no point, right? You're gonna sit there and not know how to do it, give up, look at the solution, maybe learn like one small puzzle piece of graphs, but you cannot contextualize it in all of graphs. And so it's not really gonna stick the same way. And then you are waiting
mm,
to get another random graph problem one day. And it's like such a hard process to connect that learning together. So I would say you should pick a really specific topic, drill deeply into that, just focus on that, connect the dots, go from there.
I
After
see.
you've done, all of these topics and you feel pretty good, doing random problems is actually really great then because now you're training the muscle to figure out what pattern is used in a certain problem.
Mm. So, when it comes to focusing on a specific topic, could you talk about that more specifically? Like, would I go learn graphs and then, or learn trees and start off with the basic tree questions and just slowly ramp up on the tree topics and go from lead code easy tree questions to mediums to hards?
Yeah. I think that there's a few factors. One, you probably want to practice the topics in a specific order. So a natural thought is a linked list is a simpler tree. A linked list is like a subset of trees. So
Mm,
probably do linked list questions before trees. Trees are a subset of graphs. So do trees before graphs. You don't want
mm,
to do it the other way around. So there's like an order you can pick your topics in. And then within a topic, as you said, pick an easy question depending how new you are. Really just learn a lot, read solutions, solve it in many different ways. If you're doing a prefix sum question, solve it with prefixes and suffixes. And maybe there's like a third entirely different solution. Spend a lot of time understanding all of the techniques. Like in trees, there's these different ways to traverse a tree:
yep,
pre-order, in order, post-order. I'm sure you've heard of it.
yep.
When I heard of those, it wasn't enough to just recurse on a tree in a certain order. I wanted to understand what's the point of these different techniques. Can they do different things? Do a lot of research into that. For instance, you can serialize trees uniquely with some of those traversals, but not all of them. There's stuff like that. You want to really like understand deeply how do all of these things work. So do a lot of research on that. And now is the easiest time to learn because you have an LLM which can just explain everything to you and has endless patience. So
Yeah. And then how did you sort of break down your day? Did you spend an hour doing theory, then a few hours doing questions, or did you spend more time doing theory than questions? What was the weight there? How did you structure your training sessions?
yeah, it's probably like on an as needed basis. Maybe I do a question if it's easy. I don't really need to spend a lot more time thinking about it. If it's hard for me, then I spend as much time, usually I'll give up and read the solution, and then I'll spend as much time as needed to think about it until I really feel great about it. I can rederive this from first principles. I can understand what I missed when I first thought about this question, why I couldn't solve it. I, looked at related patterns, understood how to apply this technique to those. So it's an as needed basis.
I see. When did you start doing contests?
I started, to believe, a few weeks after I started LeetCode.
Oh wow.
I wasn't very good at first. I think I started at like 1700 at my first contest, and then it maybe took a month or two before I solved 4 out of 4 for the first time.
Wow.
Um, I don't quite remember the timeline, but yeah, I just kind of threw myself in there and went from there. I thought it'd be good to practice under pressure.
Did you, when you first started doing contests, not even be able to solve any questions at all, or no?
I think I would usually get 2 or
I see.
so. Was around, yeah. I also do feel like the contests back then were maybe a little bit easier.
Now, do you think it's just getting harder and harder?
I don't think it's so much harder, but I believe it's harder. It looks like the first contest I ever did, I solved 3.
Wow.
I was rank 3000.
Damn.
And then I solved 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 0. I think that's a glitch. Maybe I like left the contest. And then yeah, 4 after that.
Nice. What was your lowest time on your leak code journey when you're like, no, this is not for me? Did you ever have that moment when you wanted to quit, or not really?
Not really. There was one point where I made a small lapse in judgment where I completed a contest and I felt like if I had templates, so in contests, you can have templates for
Mhm.
data structures.
Mhm.
Like a segment tree is a data structure that can do various operations. And it's both allowed and encouraged to have these templates
Mhm.
in a coding repo somewhere you can paste it in. So this is
Yep.
not pasting in the entire solution. It's just a template.
Yep.
And I remember doing a contest and I felt like I could be so much faster if I just had a bunch of templates made for this.
Mhm.
And that kind of defeats the purpose. I don't want to just be pasting in templates all the time. And I got a little bit frustrated with myself. So I stopped doing contests for like 6 months. That was probably my one like low.
Mhm.
But then I realized I was wrong and it was just a skill issue. And I came back and I became better.
Nice. I see. Is there a point in your journey when things just start clicking for you?
Yeah, I think that at like 800 problems, which is a lot, and I certainly don't think most people have to do that many.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty slow learner, and also I was a complete beginner, so I think it took that many for me. But at 800, I felt like I had some motion. Like I felt like I could probably pass most tech interviews, and then I don't know, maybe like a few thousand or like 1500 is God mode or whatever. You can probably pass any quant interview.
Do you think that leak code or all this problem solving skills has actually helped you in your career? As in, does it help you as a clear thinker? Do you think it's helped you on the job? Do you think it's even useful to solve that many questions?
I certainly don't think it's useful to solve that many questions. I've only solved this many because it's so funny and people seem to like it. It's like it's kind of my thing now. Like this guy who is solving every leak code problem, so
Yeah.
I get some benefit from that. But I wouldn't say that most people should do it. Um, it has helped me in work a little bit. I've done a lot of algo trading online in like blockchain engineering, like programmatic trading, art bots, stuff like that. So you do need actually some algorithms and techniques, binary search, error bounding. Also at Extend at my work, I've done a lot of like tree stuff because our work is kind of recursive in nature. But for the most part, I don't think it has really helped me be a lot sharper or help me professionally. And I don't think it's a great use of time to do that
I
much.
see. So it's more just now that you've done it, it's funny. People seem to like it. So the main benefit now is that, I mean, you could build your audience off this thing.
Yeah, I think building an audience is useful. I just do things because it's like for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And like every time I post about it, everybody asks me like, is this all you do? Do you have like no social life, no girlfriend? I really enjoy it. I think it's funny that people think that, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the skill evolution. How did your problem solving approach change over time? when you first started and then now?
Yeah. I imagine it's sort of like fine-tuning a model that becomes more precise over time. Now, when I see a question, I can usually instantly understand how to solve it on LeetCode and like really narrow in. And that process is probably just from seeing and solving so many questions over time that without like really conscious thought and understanding how your brain kind of just narrow in and like understand what this problem is really asking. So it's probably a evolution of, what do they say? Like unconscious incompetence. Like you're not even aware that you're incompetent to conscious incompetence. Like you're aware that you don't know that much. And then really, I think what most people need to try to get to is conscious competence. So you like can understand how to think about a problem. You get, you know, you have a framework in mind, how you break things down. And then final step, I guess, is unconscious competence, where you don't really have to think, you just solve.
I see. That makes sense because yeah, you just mentioned you're not a fan of like those flow charts when
Yeah.
like take this problem, start with the brute force, or go to this, or start with the problem, look for min and max, and looking for keywords.
I think there is like some truth to like I think there's different ways to think about problems that can help you arrive at the solution, but I don't think you can write a flow chart. In theory, you could write a complex enough flow chart that could capture 99% of questions, but at that point, you know, it's no different than just like learning. You're basically just mapping out the entire grid of questions. I think it might mislead people more than help them. If they look at, oh, there's a max in this problem, that means it's probably binary search. Maybe there's some other rules that they put in the flowchart. I don't think you can really like truly capture all types of questions you could get, and it might make it more confusing.
I see. When you were first starting though, what was your problem solving technique before you could narrow it in? Because I think for a lot of people, they just need help getting started and problem and
Yeah,
breaking down problems. Once they get enough problems solved, they'll probably figure out their own approach to problem solving. But just curious if you
yeah.
have advice there for newer people.
I'm thinking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like this. Let's say you're doing tree problems. There's a bunch of different things you can do within trees, right? You can do depth first search, breadth first search, different recursions. You can do like DP on trees, a lot of different things. So maybe you're kind of new to tree questions and you look at a tree problem and you need to understand how can I solve this problem? What is the thought process? I think when I started, I would almost kind of like walk through all of these ideas I've seen and try to see like how does one idea connect to this problem? And understanding how an idea connects is really just a function of like seeing other problems like that, and you'll kind of get it from the wording of the question, from the demands of the question. Um, that's a little bit of an active thought way to solve, like literally just walking through topics. I remember for a long time, stacks were a very difficult topic for me. I feel like stacks are one of the hardest topics for like you know, uh, passing interviews, stuff like that. There's a lot of sneaky stuff you can do with stacks. And at one point, I just said, like, every time I see a problem, I'm going to remind myself, like, can I use a stack here? What can a stack do? And I think that is maybe like one way to solve problems. But eventually, you don't think about any of that anymore. You just build the connections. Really, there's no trick. Like, you got to just do a lot more problems, and your brain will train and understand problem solving techniques more. I don't it's really hard to give a specific
I see.
framework or way of
So
thinking.
just learn by doing. Just keep working on things, doing things. Don't overthink it. Just solve a question. If you
Yeah.
couldn't solve it,
I
move
think
on.
learn by doing, but be really careful of mindless doing. For example, like I used to speed solve Rubik's cubes. There's a lot of people who sit every day and just solve the cube for an hour every day in
Mm,
practice. Maybe they're doing that like just for fun to unwind, totally fine. But if you are just doing that to practice and you're kind of just mindlessly solving a Rubik's cube over and over, you are not going to really get better. You should think a lot about how you practice. So yes, do problems, but do it with a specific plan in mind. today I'm going to learn this topic and I'm going to look at every question with this topic and I'm going to write all my notes on why I didn't understand this topic and go from there. But it is ultimately a lot of just more doing and less
Yeah,
worrying.
I see. This kind of is interesting questions. If I were to give you a new skill today, not leak code, how would you become the best at it? Your top 1% at it. A brand new skill, something you've never touched. You've done multiple things in your life. I give you this new skill.
Yeah.
Break it down.
My guess is if it's something I didn't like, I would probably never be able to be good at it because I would just not be able to bring myself to really go very deep on it. I think things that I enjoy are easier for me to get good at. But aside from that, how would you get like top 10%, maybe 5% at something? I'd probably spend some time researching this subject, understanding. Let's say it's like skiing,
Mm,
right? I don't ski. I don't know anything about skiing.
mm,
I'll probably learn what are all of the aspects about skiing I need to think of. There's equipment, there's training, there's like different terrains you have to travel on. This is just me thinking right now.
mm.
Probably learn a lot about that, do research. I'd spend a lot of time just going out there, trying to ski, falling, talking to different coaches, getting their advice, like synthesizing all of these ideas. And then at that point, I'll probably have a more refined way of thinking about it. What are actual things I need to focus on that I'm not good at? Um, yeah, it's a very like first principles driven way of thinking about things.
That makes sense. Like taking the subject and breaking it down into its components. Like skiing, there's
Yeah,
the equipment
yeah,
component, there's the jumping component, there's
right,
coaches, etc. And
right.
then would you focus on the areas where you don't know as much and build those up and sort of keep building, or would you focus on specific areas more?
Yeah, I imagine you probably always want to look at what is bottlenecking you right now. What are you weakest at? Probably pick like the three things you're weakest at, practice those until those are your like three best things, and then repeat.
I see.
So I remember for a long time in LeetCode, I was very weak at stacks. Like I said, stacks were hard for me. So I just did a shit ton of stack problems and like thought about it a lot and searched out all of the different patterns and techniques and ways of doing it and implementations. And then stacks at one point were my best topic, probably my worst again. But yeah, I think if you just pick the things you're worst at, it's a little bit scary to think about things you're bad at. I think people don't like to face thinking about or looking at things they're not good at. But if you kind of dive head in and just go for it and embrace it and learn, you feel better afterwards because it's like I'm doing this thing I'm not good at. I'm gonna get better at it
I see.
and repeat.
When you start a study session, how do you structure it? Do you take on the hardest question that you can right away, or do you ease into it? Maybe I'll do some warm ups because I've seen people do other different strategies for
Right.
this.
Is this for like what I do right now, or maybe what I did when I was a bit weaker, or like still learning?
Or maybe when you're learning and then just also right now.
Right. Yeah. When I'm learning, you definitely want to start easier than harder, and you want to, you know, find easy topics that you lack in, go from there, build up. Definitely like easy, medium, maybe some hards, but you really don't need to do very many hards, only a couple when you start. And like I said, go very focused topic by topic in order. Now, when I practice, it's a little bit different. I'm usually just picking kind of a niche topic like jump tables, heavy light decomp, some of the more like competitive nuanced things, and I'll just do a bunch of problems like those. And it's a lot more implementation work, especially because I usually need C++ if it's on code forces, and I'll just practice my implementation, look at different ways of solving certain techniques.
Okay. Is what kind of topics have you learned recently?
I haven't onboarded onto any super new topics recently. Maybe the most recent was a lot of number theory and like prime questions, like Bezout's identity, chicken McNugget theorem, a lot of like prime factorization, Poirot, stuff like that. Because I'm pretty weak at math, though I am a
Same.
math enthusiast and I enjoy math. So I wanted to become good at number theory. I felt like it was one of my worst topics. Now I'm probably it's probably an average topic for me.
I see. Have you, when it comes to like roadblocks and stuff, have you ever hit roadblocks as in you're addicted to social media, it's taking up too much of your time, or maybe you
Hmm.
thought that this was useless and you wanted to quit? Like you came to a realization that this leak code stuff is not gonna do any use for me.
Yeah. Well, again, I only do this much leak code because I like coding
Yeah.
problems. So there was a small initial boundary, which is I need to do some amount of leak code to perhaps pass a job interview.
Hmm.
It wasn't that much, so I never really hit like that, you know, misery threshold. I don't want to do leak code, but I need to do more leak code to get a job. I think I probably passed that pretty quickly. And then after that, it's mostly I just did it because I liked it. So there's no frustration. In terms of roadblocks with like social media, other wasting time, yeah, definitely. I advise a lot of people to like be a bit more disciplined, spend less time scrolling on their phones. I'm not going to act like I am perfect. I'm very far from it. For
Yeah.
example, I have Crohn's disease. I have to eat a really clean diet. I'm not as great as I should be. I've cut down on processed foods and things like that. But I'm a human too. I think
Yeah.
everything's a balance. So yeah, I think it's difficult, but you got to do some soul searching at the end of the day and figure out what is important to you
Yeah.
and what you're willing to sacrifice.
Do you have any productivity hacks or tips, or maybe your top three productivity advice for the viewers?
Yeah, man, it's so tricky. I really feel like a lot of my advice just doesn't really apply to people because I really just do things because I love doing them. Like I love solving coding problems, so I do it. So I don't really need to think about doing more or like finding ways to be productive because I want to do it anyway. And so I feel like it's hard for me to give advice, but I wish I had a better answer. I really just think like being very organized helps me a lot. Especially leak code is such a when you start leak code, there's like so much shit flying at you from every direction. And it's like every time you solve a problem that, you know, you think, how could I have ever come up with this? I can't draw all these connections together. So I think organization can help cut through that noise a lot and help you stay productive. Because you don't want to spend an hour practicing and you end up running in circles around and getting frustrated and not really learning anything. So I think if you have a really clear task in mind and you focus on that and you block out all of the other noise, that can help you be productive.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna get into some of the chat questions because we're about 36 minutes in. We'll spend like 15 minutes doing this. How many hours per day do you spend on leak code without burning out? Or do you think somebody could spend on leak code without burning out?
I think it depends on the person. I imagine professional athletes could probably play their sports for 10 to 12 hours a day, barring physical injury, but just mentally, and still enjoy it and not burn out. So, me personally, I don't do so much leak code anymore. I probably do 30 minutes a day, something like that. I'm not trying to practice or get better right now. I'm really just trying to do this silly challenge and solve all of them. Um, but yeah, I think when you start, it's harder because everything's new and you have to be a lot more focused about learning. But like now, if I sit down and do my leak code for the day, it's a little bit mindless, so it's not that tiring.
How much time do you spend on it per day usually?
Maybe like 30 minutes.
Nice. And then how much
Yeah.
questions would you solve in that span of time?
I'm usually trying to pace to 4 to 5 questions a day. That's my estimated pace that I need to finish solving all of the remaining problems this year,
I see.
which is my goal. So I try to cap it at that. But I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of that.
Yeah.
So I think I've been averaging maybe like 6 a day for now because if I get busier later this year or I have more like health issues or like I have to be in the hospital, stuff like that,
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to be able to practice as much. So I want to have some padding there.
Do you ever get any FOMO with all the AI stuff? Because that I get that sometimes when I'm trying to grind leak code and code forces rating, but then at the
Hmm.
same time I want to build out some AI stuff and spend more time on that as well. So
Yeah, I do both, and I spend more time working on AI. Like again, I'm working on some agent orchestration tooling, which is kind of at the cutting edge of what a lot of companies are doing right now. Uh, I really don't spend that much time. Like I'm not getting better at LeetCode right now. I'm probably getting worse because I'm not really practicing things I should be. So I do think it's more important. You could call it FOMO. I spend more time on that.
nice. So somebody's asking if you were to learn AI from scratch, which is maybe something you're already just learning from scratch right now. What's your system for picking it up and mastering it? And they
Uh,
want more details, such as are you tracking the hours? How are you tracking your progress? How are you, etc.
yeah,
Stuff like
I
that.
don't really track hours or anything like that. It's just by feeling. I'll give you a more tangible example. So I want to learn more about agent orchestration, right? We have coding agents that can run autonomously and that can coordinate with each other and do complex tasks. We use this a little bit at work at Extend. I haven't worked directly on our agent systems that much, but I know a little bit. So if I want to learn more about that, I spend time reading our code base, seeing how other engineers implemented it. I look at people who really know what they're doing. For example, Boris, who I think is the creator of Claude Code at Anthropic and like helped lead that project initiative. I read a lot of his work and his blogs and his tweets and thoughts about agent orchestration. And I am kind of always seeking out the people who are the best at something.
Hmm.
I want to learn from them because they actually know what's what. And also learning by building. Like I'm just gonna go build the thing myself
Yeah.
and see how it works and learn from practice because that's the best way to learn. Just get into it.
What exactly do you mean by agent orchestration?
Yeah. So right now there's a lot of verticals that have agentic capabilities. So uh, I guess I'll use Extend as an example. The company that I work at, we do document processing. We pull data out of documents with AI. Some of that might need agentic capabilities. Checkboxes on documents can be really complicated for AI to understand when a box is checked or not checked. And so that might need a agentic capability from your processing engine. An agent that recognizes this is a checkbox. I'm not very confident about the data here. I need to pass this down to a sub agent that maybe has checkbox specific capabilities or something like that.
Hmm.
And so, how do those agents conduct each other and communicate and orchestrate? That's what I mean by agent orchestration. And that's like a pretty
Hmm.
broad thing. You know, when you use Claude Code, even when you use ChatGPT, when you look something up, often you have some AI instance, some runtime instance that understands the task at hand, creates a plan, and then it delegates sub agents,
Hmm.
sub like ChatGPTs to go look things up in specific topics and come back with the data. And then the main agent will synthesize that together. So that's like an orchestrator. I forget the technical term for it, but there's different ways of how these agents communicate. So I want to learn more about that because I think a lot of future tooling and SaaS products are going to basically be different ways, different agentic ways of handling things.
I see. Somebody's asking, did you go to Heritage? I don't know if that means.
No, I don't know. I think I told that person that I wasn't going to share which high school I
Oh.
went to. To be honest, I don't know why they keep asking, but I
Are you
did not
from the
go there.
Bay? You're from the
I'm from
Bay?
California.
Oh, okay. The Bay Area?
Yeah.
Okay, because people are obsessed here about what high school and stuff they go to. That's why.
So the reason I don't want to answer that, like I went to a high school that I would say is traditionally pretty tech focused. Most people I know from my high school are engineers.
Yeah.
But I think that people will look at me and think like, okay, he's the way he is because he went to a school like that. And I'm sure there's obviously some influence, right? If I grew up in a village in India, I would probably not be an engineer, right? I'll be like
Yeah.
a farmer or a merchant or whatever.
Hmm.
Obviously, growing up in the Bay Area has predisposed me to working in tech. But really, like I studied business. I didn't know how to code at all. I went through two other entirely different careers, and then I taught myself how to code. And so I worry telling people where I went to school, they're gonna just make that connection like, okay, he went here, that's why he's an engineer. but it's
Yeah.
not really because of that. I don't really think it's relevant.
Yeah. So you don't want them to like know what school you went to, and then they're like, then I can't
Yeah,
get as good as
because
this guy.
I don't want them to feel like they can't do something
Yeah.
because they didn't grow up in a place like that. Like, I'm a self-taught engineer.
Yeah.
I say that a lot, and I think a lot of people get annoyed at me because they think I'm trying to show off, but really, I'm trying to show people like me who are trying to break into a different career that they can do it and it is possible, and it is legitimately an advantage if you use it right. Um, and so I don't want people to just think, okay, he went to school in the Bay Area. His parents are probably engineers. They're not.
Mhm.
That's why he's an engineer. It's hopeless for someone like me.
Makes sense. What is your thoughts on the future of coding?
Yeah, I think that agents are going to get stronger at coding. I think they're going to get stronger at reviewing. I think it'll probably take a while. I think once we add in the integrations for agents to very easily test things and you know have more collaborative capabilities. You have an agent that writes code, one that reviews it. You can like do the setup yourself, but it's kind of not the default way of using agentic coding tools right now. Um, once agents can autonomously write code, execute your tests, run it in the browser, analyze what the browser output looks like with a vision language model, all of this stuff very easily. Hopefully, we don't need to write that much code anymore or even review it. Reviewing is really a big bottleneck right now that takes the longest time, but eventually, I think it's going to be a lot more about taste, execution, building things that excite people, and less about coding. And I think a lot of people find that scary,
Mhm.
and I totally get it. You spent probably years, well, I don't know, like 6, 7 years learning how to code.
Yeah.
Longer, you went to school. It probably doesn't feel so great to know that there is this little bot that can code better than we ever can at like
Yeah.
small tasks. But it feels like you spend a lot of time learning this art that is now dead. But I try to take a lot of this stuff in stride. You know, I don't have to spend as much time sitting and writing code by hand, which was not ever very fun for me. I can use this coding tool as leverage now, and maybe I can go build a lot of cool stuff very quickly that I always wanted to build. I think the world will never have a shortage of need for people who are hungry and curious and like to learn and understand how things work. So as long as you keep that in mind, you're probably always going to be okay.
Nice. Do you think it's still useful for people to learn how to code from scratch? No AI right now?
I have no idea. It's really hard to say. I also kind of want to be mindful of there's a lot of negativity in software engineering already,
Yeah.
and I don't want to scare people a lot and bring more negativity. And also, I totally recognize like I'm not a qualified authority on this at all.
Yeah.
So really, it's just some random guy's opinion. I feel like it is probably not as useful. If I had kids now, I would still teach them how to code and understand how things work because I think it's good to understand how AI works, especially it's going to become so prevalent in everybody's life. I don't know if I would encourage them to like be an engineer per se. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I would think a little bit more about it.
What would you coerce them into doing?
I would encourage them to try to run a business when they're really young, maybe sell candy to their friends when they're like 6 or 7. I'd encourage them to get into social media. I know that sounds crazy. Like usually kids, you don't want them on social media, but like
Yeah.
maybe as a creator, doing something fun, documenting their journey with something. I think that can be inspiring and fun and is very valuable to have an audience and you can learn a lot. Maybe that's naive to say because there's, they'll probably get a lot of hate and mean comments and whatever, and you want to protect your kids from that. But I don't know if I would push them to any specific career. I don't have kids yet. I probably won't have kids for like 5, 6 years. So by the time I do, I'm sure the world will look very different, and then I'll know what things I would
Yeah.
want them to do.
Like when I talk to people, I notice there's pretty much two types of people with AI. People are seeing the AI and they just see unlimited opportunity. They get so excited, like, oh no, I
Yeah.
could do this, I could do that, I could automate this, I can. They just their eyes turn green, and then there's other people who, when they see AI, they just get scared, like, oh no,
Hmm.
this is gonna take my job. This is
Yeah.
gonna, I don't know. It seems like you see green when you see AI.
I mean, if I were like a blue collar laborer, or maybe that's not a good example, something that could easily be automated, an entry level consultant, an accountant or something, I would probably be pretty angry about AI. I would worry about my future.
Yeah,
I think that's totally justified. You know, you don't want it's like the same thing. People used to pump gas by hand, and now they made gas pumps, and
yeah,
at most places it's self-serve in the US, and a lot of people who were gas pumpers were very mad about that because their jobs get taken away. It's an unfortunate scenario. You can't really stop AI because people who are AI researchers are going to make it. So you kind of need to either get on board or figure a way to deal with that. I wouldn't say I see green like a lot of opportunity. And I want to exploit that. It's more just you got to take it in stride, right? It's happening whether you like it or not. So
uh,
what can you do?
yeah. What do you think about you is not automatable? When pretend AI takes over, why
Uh,
do you think that you'll still be around and you'll still be able to produce value? Or do you think you're gonna get not gonna you're just gonna get replaced and you just be chilling?
my hope would be that I like to learn and I'm pretty thoughtful about what I like to learn. And so as long as there's room for somebody in the world to be productive and do something that AI can't do, hopefully I'll be able to be there because I like to always learn new things and just take everything in stride. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and I will be automated away.
Nice. No, I'm pretty similar to you. I'm not worried about getting automated either.
Yeah,
And if I did get automated, I'll just find something else to do. So I'm
right.
not worried. All right, man. It's been good. Do you want to say anything to the chat? Any want to plug your stuff? What can we expect from you in the coming months, coming year?
Yeah. Uh, don't really care too much to plug anything, but this year I'll probably just focus on my challenge to finish all of my LeetCode problems. I've gotten a lot of requests to make a guide tutorial how to learn.
Yeah.
I think it's time I probably bite the bullet and do that, whether it's like a Notion guide or a YouTube video or something, because a lot of people have been asking. So maybe expect that in store. Expect a few other silly things. I have a lot of silly personal adventures that I haven't really shared online, so I'll do more of that too.
Well, the chat's like, yo, there's still way more questions, and yeah, a bunch came in. Okay, let me choose a couple more
Yeah, I'm in no rush.
because we have I have to interview some other guy for
Mhm.
OpenAI setting up soon. But let's see, what's some good ones here. How are your system design skills?
Like traditional system design
Yeah,
in this moment, not so great. So, for instance, I once interviewed at a startup and they wanted to do a traditional system design round, right? Like implement Google Maps, whatever, link URL shortener, the 2030 classics. And I told them on the phone, I was like, look, if you ask me this interview, I'm going to go spend 30 hours studying Hello Interview, which is an interview platform for
yeah,
system design. I'm going to read everything. I'm effectively going to memorize a lot of this because I don't work with these systems every day,
yeah,
right? Even though I work on backend systems, I don't work with like maps databases. I'm not going to know how to implement Google Maps from my work because that's just not something I do.
yeah,
So I'm going to go memorize all this stuff from Hello Interview. I'm going to come back, do the interview. I'm going to do well on the interview. You're going to be happy. I'll pass the interview, but it's like a lose lose. You don't really get any signal and you kind of wasted a lot of my time. So, can I just skip the interview? Can you ask me something that makes more sense? So, I would usually do that. So I'm not so great at system design because I never really practiced. Most
Mm,
companies would just skip, and if they weren't willing to skip, I wouldn't interview with them because I think that they are not very ruthless, and probably I don't want to work with people like that.
yeah. Everyone's like, damn, he does what he wants.
I mean, I understand like if you interview at Meta, you can't do that, right? Because Meta, giant corporation, you don't get to pick, right? They have a million people at the door who would like to work at Meta. But for a lot of smaller companies, startups, trading pods, things that I was interested in, you get to pick because uh, they, it's a different game. So
Yeah. What was sort of your parents or colleagues' influence on you? Did they push you to do something prestigious like medicine, law, engineering?
yeah, my parents didn't push me to do anything. They were very laid back, which I'm very appreciative of. They were probably too laid back, which is not a criticism. They were everybody's a parent for the first time. I think my parents are lovely, wonderful people who are always very supportive. So I kind of didn't have any direction. My dad is not an engineer. He runs his own small business by himself. My mom is a homemaker, so she has probably the hardest job out of all of us. So I kind of just explored everything. When I was a kid, I played a lot of sports. I was bad at all of them, tried instruments, bad at all of them, kind of, you know, didn't know what to do. And then in college, I really started to just try out hobbies on myself and see what I liked and go from there. And they've always been super supportive. When I did Rubik's Cube, I used to do an event called Multi Blindfold. So you memorize a bunch of Rubik's Cubes, all differently scrambled, and then you put on the blindfold and you solve them all in a row. And I told my parents, like 2 months after I learned how to do this, I want to go compete in this contest in Wisconsin. And they flew with me, paid for my flights, and they came with me to Wisconsin. And I competed in this tiny local competition. And I got third place, a bronze medal at this tiny competition in Wisconsin, which is the first time I ever won anything in my life in college. And I remember my dad said, like, this was so worth it that we
Yeah.
did this. So yeah, my parents have always been extremely supportive, and pretty much I owe everything to them. I wouldn't be able to have done anything that I've done without them. But
This is good
it's pretty
parents.
much just whatever you want to do, we'll support it as long as you're not doing something really stupid or out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just encouraged you and just kept hyping you up to keep pursuing this Rubik's Cube thing.
Yeah, I think like obviously, you know, there's some difficulties. When I told them I wanted to play pro poker, they didn't
Yeah.
love that. When I taught myself how to code, they advised me not to do that and tried to push against that.
Really? For why?
Uh, because I went to business school,
Oh,
so they
okay.
thought I should do something in business.
I see.
But they're just trying to be like I completely understand their perspective. They're trying to be responsible parents. They've lived a much different, more difficult life in India where they did not have nearly as much choices or freedom as I am afforded. And so they're pretty conservative in nature. And that's probably why they guide me in certain ways. But ultimately, if it really comes down to it, I know they have my back. They're gonna support me, whatever I set my mind on.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings and are they similar to you in behavior? Not really.
Yeah, I have an older sister. Nobody in my family is really similar to me. I would say I'm pretty odd out of my family.
What about your friends? Like your close group of friends, maybe that you grew up with. Are you kind of odd one out, or people are ambitious?
I think I'm odd in my background because I like did a lot of weird stuff like business school to poker or Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
But like most of my friends are engineers, pretty traditional careers like Berkeley, MIT, CS, AI, whatever. Um,
I
but
see.
yeah, I wouldn't say we're like so different.
Nice. All right, probably the last question is why do you think Swedes are gonna get replaced specifically, or are all white collar workers cooked?
Yeah. So a few things about this question. One is Swedes are already getting replaced Like, Twitter's Eng team is much smaller than it used to be. A lot of companies are hiring fewer people. A lot of startups are using fewer people because we have AI as leverage. Still a big bottleneck of reviewing code and synthesizing ideas and getting alignment, but hiring is definitely going down. I don't know to what degree that will continue if one day the software engineer job won't exist at all. I have no idea. But also, I feel like a lot of people ask this question. Like, I tell them my views on the future of employment with AI, and then people get really scared and they're like, I just started my job, or they're kind of looking to me to inform them how to feel.
Yeah.
Like, one is, I'm not a qualified authority on this at all, so I would not take what I say with like a lot of importance. But two is, it really doesn't matter, because if you just focus on being the best version of yourself, learning more things, upskilling, building cool stuff, there's like always going to be room for you in the world, right? The world is never going to run out of problems to solve, and never going to run out of smart people who like building things that help others. So instead of just saying, yeah, it's cooked, go do something else, I think it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. Focus on learning more and being better than yourself yesterday, and that's all you really need.
Yeah. No, I get that a lot too, where people are just asking. People want a roadmap, or they want, oh, do this, do that. They want very
Right.
specific advice. But it's not, I don't know. This, like, you can, that's not the best way, I think, to go about it. I think what
Yeah.
you mentioned is just having drive and ambition, wanting
Right.
to learn things. Like, there's always a place in this world for people who are ambitious.
Right.
All right, man. Thanks for hopping in. Everyone, I'm gonna quickly plug his LinkedIn because yeah, he that's what he's been on. But thanks for tuning in. Maybe one day we'll do a coding interview. I kind of want to ask you fang level interview questions, like stuff that we
Sure.
ask, and let's just see how many you can body in the span of 45 minutes.
Sure.
All right,
Sounds good.
everyone, go follow Ishaan. Solving every single leak code question this year. He's at 3,000. But thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. It was a good conversation. I think we covered a lot of topics. But yeah, talk to
Yeah,
you again soon,
no
man.
worries. All right, have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Crazy. Yo, chat, what's up?
Beast mode, LEETCODES, 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 beast mode. This is no.
Holy, we were rapid fire asking questions. What what do y'all think? Y'all learned anything? Did I cover everything that y'all wanted to hear or no? Damn. Don't worry, I'm gonna drop it as its own. Yeah, that guy is super chill. I'm gonna drop it as its own video, and you can just go watch it back, or you can just watch the stream back. This is not going down anytime soon. All right, we're gonna get somebody set up for Dude grinds like a tweaker but doesn't tweak. Yeah, he's pretty normal. That's the funniest thing. Dude grinds like a tweaker but doesn't tweak. Yeah, chat. I didn't read the chat the whole time. How was it? What was people saying? What's everyone's thoughts on him so far, Sean? I wasn't looking at the chat, but I saw the chat was buzzing. Somebody has an interview at OpenAI, and I'm gonna and I'm going to prep them up for it. That's what's happening. Is LeetCode Beast Mode on Spotify? Yes, sir. It's one of my friends made the song. I'll send it to you. Or I'll send you the link to the song on YouTube that I have, and then it has the links to Spotify. So we're gonna prep somebody for OpenAI. I think the question is super interesting, and this guy's pretty smart. The one that we're gonna hop on. Am I autistic? No. Sean, I was gonna ask that, but I don't know if he was trolling or not. Kyle, what's up? Kyle, we gotta get you on the stream at some point. Chat, Kyle's a PhD and works at NASA, so we gotta get him on the chat, and he's super focused on math and stuff like that, so we're gonna get him on the stream at some point. He's not a Swede, but he's what do you do specifically? Astrophysicist or physicist? Yeah, everyone go ask Sean stuff now. Okay, we're gonna astrophysicist and data scientist, yeah. Kyle, you gotta bring me to the NASA office. I need to see it. Okay, we're gonna prep somebody up for OpenAI. This is the plan. Somebody from Toronto. Yo, what up?
Yo, what's up, James?
What's up, broski? How's Toronto?
Not too bad, it's still snowing though.
God damn.
No, but I know you got it worse, so it's fine.
I'm not in Calgary right now. I'm in SF.
Oh, okay. Now you got
Yo,
it worse.
I left Calgary 5 years ago. I'm not touching winter ever again. But I heard Toronto, the weather is not as bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
How do you like living in Toronto? Do you think you want to live there long term?
Yeah, I like Toronto, but like, of course, like for jobs, I don't think there's too many like good opportunities here.
Trying to get that money.
That's it.
There's no good opportunities. All the top dogs in AI came out of there.
Yeah, I don't mess with AI like that.
And then you're interviewing at OpenAI? It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Do not say that interview, man. Do not say that in your interview. What other interviews do you have coming up?
I mean, like I'm done for the summer, but for fall, Ramp. Have you heard of like a startup called Ramp? Also that.
Nice. Yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah, but like for fall, I'm still gonna apply, so probably gonna be more.
I see. Okay, let me look through this. Give me a few seconds. I have this question. I just need to. I kind of AI generated it. I just need to read over it to just make sure.
Yeah, it's chill.
All right, I just need to read over this question. Where is it? That's kind of dumb. Wait, no, this it's a good question, but the ChatGPT just added some extra stuff that I don't want to.
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm okay. Can you see me like right on there? Okay.
Yeah, you're writing tests. You can.
Okay, bet.
Wait, let me run this through ChatGPT. I gotta simplify it.
Yeah, bet.
Because it's tried to treat it like a system design question, but it's not really.
Oh, I see it. It's just some OOP thing.
Yeah. Okay, wait, let me read. Okay, yeah, this I'll just freestyle it, but I think we can figure it out on the fly, and I'll just ask
Sure.
follow-ups. But there might be multiple follow-ups, but we'll freestyle it.
Okay, yeah, that's no
All
problem.
right. Okay, I'll start up the video. Hey everyone, so today we have somebody who's interviewing at OpenAI, so we gotta get him prepared. Interviews coming up, so we're gonna focus on practical coding questions, and we're gonna see where his skills are at. You want to give a quick introduction or brief background of yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just a third year junior studying computer science here in Toronto.
Nice. Have you done any internships before?
Yeah, so I worked at Amazon Web Services.
I see. How do you get this interview? Did you just apply
Um,
regularly?
yeah, I just applied early, I guess.
Nice. What do you think stood out about your experience that helped you, or did you do anything different in order to get this interview?
Um, I honestly just applied with my regular resume. I think I put like some programming like use it go stuff like that on my resume. So that probably not, to be honest. I think it was just like the experiences and the projects.
And your experiences was mostly AWS, or did you have a bunch of side projects that actually got users and
No, I didn't have like side projects with users, but they were like I think they were pretty cool.
yeah. Were they
I had
super
like
technical?
yeah, that's what I think it was. I built like a database.
Oh, nice. From scratch?
Yep,
What language?
C++.
Wow. Is that what you're gonna code in right now?
No, I'll use Python.
Okay. In school also, did you do any hackathons and things like that to set yourself apart?
Oh yeah, I've done like 10 hackathons.
Yeah.
Like first year, second year, I was going crazy every weekend.
Yeah.
I was going to a hackathon.
Did you win any?
Yeah, I won like half the ones I went to.
Wow. Maybe that's why you got that OpenAI interview. What else do you think you did to set yourself apart?
Um, like I put like basically how much money I won in those hackathons as well. I think maybe like the money figure probably looked nice.
I see. How much money you make off the hackathons?
Over like 5,000.
Nice. That's solid. That's a solid month of work right there. All right. So since this is a AI company, what we're gonna be implementing this interview is what I'm gonna call an AI gateway. And it's gonna be a very
Okay.
simple thing right now. So we're gonna be implementing an AI gateway. It's gonna be just a single class in memory. But what this
Sure.
gateway, we're gonna build on it, but first let's just start off with simply, we're taking this gateway. You can add a credit balance for specific users, and then you could refill those credits. But then you could also use up those credits. So I just want you to design this thing from scratch, ask as many questions, and yeah, how would you design? It's a let's mix this up a little bit. It's gonna be system designy, but you're gonna have to
Sure.
implement this class from scratch. So yeah, just walk me through all of the steps that you would take in order to implement a basic AI gateway, and then we'll expand from there.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, just starting off with like, I guess the initial thing. So I think the functionality we need is okay, add credit balance, right? So we probably need to add function, right? Support refilling credits, right? So I guess refilling can wait, can you tell me the difference between refilling and add in this case? And I guess use also makes sense here, but um I'm kind of wondering, so does this support multiple customers, or is it for like a single instance of this class would be for a single user?
The single instance of this class is the gateway for all our customers.
Hmm. Right. So then I think for now, maybe just having these kind of makes sense. And then so how I'm going to represent the like the state of all customers is going to be a hash map, right? So customers is going to be, and then the key will be, for example, customer ID, right? So like for example, maybe UUID V4 or whatever it's called, right? So uh, like something like that. Colon, and then we can store like metadata, but for now, I think like it makes sense to just store the balance, right? Or we can do this, and then I think this will be more scalable if we have like something like this, and then here we store an int, right? And this is going to be the balance, right? So um I think for the state this makes sense. Now for add, I think simply we can just
Or
okay,
let
we
me
can
answer your question quickly about different between adding and refilling. So adding would be more in the register. So kind of
okay,
somebody would just come in, they start off with the initial balance, but they also want to register themselves. And then
okay, sure. So
afterwards, when it gets low, they can refill. And then
okay,
yeah,
sure.
use up.
So okay, I get it. So here we'll have that like cust ID, right? So this is going to be the unique identifier for the customer as well as the uh initial balance. Bal is equal to is going to be initially 0, but then of course like they can choose to put some, and then so then now just or wait, this would be for yeah, add and then refill. So we can kind of split up the states here. So add will only create this instance of customer ID, and then it will call refill to refill the customer, right? So then this is going to be balance, and this can also be just equal to 0. And then so here we're kind of like splitting up the uses of like the two functions, right? So this add will just purely register the user and then call this function which will refill. And then we have use here, and for use, we're going to take in customer ID again, right? So we're going to take in customer ID, take in amount, right? So then what do you want this to return? Should it return the amount, the balance, or true or false based on whether they can spend that amount?
It's a good question. What do you think it should do?
Um, so I think we can basically do both, but like right now we don't really have a way of getting the user's balance, right? So then I think it it might make sense to like maybe return like an array of both things, or use can um I guess here like it can really go both ways. It kind of depends on the user. Like um I think a true or false is fine here, to be honest. Like whether they can use or not use, right? Like it does not say get balance. So sure.
Yeah.
So I mean it does two things, right? Checks check if user has at least amount, then spend, right? Spend, return true. And then here, if it doesn't have it, then return false. Does that make sense for like this use case right now?
Yeah, I see. Okay, in refill, what are the parameters to this function and what is it returning?
Sure, yeah. So refill is going to be the customer ID, right? So who wants to get refilled? And then this is also here. I think it should return the new int being the new balance because a refill it should not fail, right? So then it makes sense for it to return the int, which is the new balance. And then so how the logic here is okay. Check if exists. Okay, if the user exists, like user at balance plus equal balance, right? And then I guess like housekeeping wise, we have to make sure that the balance is positive, right? So balance is positive, pause. And then yeah, I think that's fine for now.
I see. Okay. I think that makes sense. Let's go ahead and implement that first version.
Sure. Okay, so then I think just we're gonna call a class API. We call it AI gateway, right? AI gateway, right? And gateway, my bad. And then so we're gonna define the constructor here. So the constructor will take in self, and then I'm guessing initially this won't be constructed with users, and then they would use this add command or this register command to initialize users. Or do you think that this could be instantiated with already given users?
Let's just say when it spins up, it
Okay,
it doesn't have anything.
sure, that makes sense. So then we can just use a default dictionary here, import, right? So then here the value is going to be the customer ID to a dictionary of like the balance, maybe customer name eventually and stuff like that, right? So then self dot customers is going to be equal to default dictionary of a dictionary. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think we're fine for the constructor now. So now adding, right? So then so the def will take in self, and then here we said customer ID, right? So 1 second, cust ID, and then it will take in the initial balance, right? So initial balance, right? So now like just some things to clarify. A user, if it already exists, then they shouldn't be like reinstantiated, right? So then does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure. So then here the add is going to return a true or false. So first thing we're going to check is if customer ID in self.customers, right? So this means it exists, then we can't create it, right? So then we return false. And then now here we're assured that the user does exist, right? So then we can do cust ID, self.customers at cust ID is going to be equal to this dictionary, which has the balance. Oh wait, balance set to initial balance. Or wait, actually, I remember saying that I was gonna move this part to the other function. So let's do that. So def refill. So here we'll just purely instantiate this with zeros. I think that makes sense here. So there we go. And then so this will be instantiated with a 0, and then we'll call this refill to actually refill. So a refill takes in self, and then we said customer ID and balance. Cust ID balance, right? So then here so are we guaranteed that this refill, like this customer ID exists in refill as well, or should we check again if the user exists or not? I think
What do you
it
think?
makes sense to check. Yeah. So then we can just have like a function here. Check. Wait, we can just do like user exists. Okay, and then this will take in self cust ID, return cust ID and self dot customers. Okay, now and I guess here we can just check. So if not self dot underscore user exists, and then we send in cust ID, then we just return false, right? And then here, okay, we set this initial balance to 0. Now we're gonna call refill with the initial balance, and we just add it to 0. So again, we can just copy this logic. Oh, why is this false not copying? Okay, wait. I hope it copied.
Working for me.
Okay. Okay, yeah, just the false was not copying. Everything else was. Okay. Okay, so now just a refill here is just going to be pretty simple, right? So then self dot customers at cust ID plus at balance plus equal balance, right? And then this should return here. Okay, wait. So then refill, what this here, I think if we're returning false, if it exists, right, then we should just return true that it refilled, right? So then I think I said that up there as well, right? So then, oh no, I said int. I think this logic makes sense here, to be honest. So return stuff dot refill stuff dot refill cust ID and balance, right? So okay, I think here we should be fine. And then what was the other ones used, right? So then I think use is pretty simple, right? So def use, and let me know if like you need clarifications or anything anywhere.
So
right?
on the
then,
ad, you're calling the refill. So you're starting the customer at a certain balance and you're adding a refill.
yeah, yeah. No. So the ad, like we mentioned before, it's to instantiate the customer, right? So then I'm doing that, and then the logic of like, or the responsibility of adding balance is going to be up to like refill itself.
Yep. Okay.
And then use here. So again, we just I think it's just common practice. Make sure that this customer ID exists, right? So, and then if it exists, what do we check? So I guess user here is equal to self dot customer at customer ID, right? And then did I spell this right? Oh, customers, yes, S. There we go. Okay, so now if our current users balance is greater than or equal to the current amount we want to spend, then we should be good, right? So then user at balance minus equal amount, and then here return true, and then I guess there is no else, so we just return false here.
I see.
Does
Okay.
everything make sense?
All right. Walk me through line by line from the start of your AI gateway to the end.
Wait 1 sec. I think okay. Amount. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sure. So constructor here, we're gonna go ahead and instantiate like the in-memory structure, which we use to store like all the customers, right? So we have a helper function here called users exist. And then it just basically tells us if this customer ID exists, right? So what the add function does here is checks, okay, does the user exist? If it exists, then you can't add the user, right?
Yeah.
And then and I guess we can do that. Okay. So if the customer exists, then you're going to go ahead. I mean, if the customer does not exist, you instantiate the customer in this in-memory structure, right?
Mhm.
So, and then you just fill it with this initial balance that they passed in. And then so what this does, again, to be more modular here, like this check is a little bit redundant, but like just for the sake of modularity, because refill might be called multiple times, right? Like, and not just from add, right? So just for case of modularity, we check, and then so if the user exists, right, then we just add this balance to it, right? And then I guess, do you want me to check if the balance is going to be negative or the amount here used is going to be negative? Like small edge cases like that, or you think this is fine?
Well, should they be able to use up if they don't have enough credits?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess for use here, if no, this like over here, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But I'm saying like just like these inputs being malformed, like
okay.
okay,
I see.
in Python, like anything
Yeah.
you can pass in anything, so it's like it might
Okay.
be cooked, right?
Yeah, we'll just assume that it makes sense if you're what do you think if you're building a real production system?
I think a real production system, like, it makes sure that, like, okay, who's going to be user, right? The user's going to be you or the other developers, right? And I think, like, it makes sense for them to kind of know, like, how to use the product, you know.
Okay, so you wouldn't add the
And
check there?
I guess you can know, like, I guess you could add like type hints or something, but aside from that, like, if another developer is using it, then like you shouldn't be able to trying to like fix your own code mistakes in the function, right? Like,
Yeah. Okay. Write me out
or
some
this
test
could,
cases. Let's make sure this thing works.
yeah, sure. So I think like one other thing is like this would be the back end, right? So I think all those like inputs for like the user should be already validated on the front end, right? So yeah, sure. So here, like let's start. So we're going to say gateway equals AI gateway, right? So we're instantiating this, and then let's go ahead and add some users, right? So gateway dot add, and we're gonna start these guys off with like no money, I guess. Here I'll put James as one of the users, and we'll put like $12, I guess, and then we can have some for like Rob, um Rob or Bob, I guess. Okay, I think 3 is fine.
Sure.
0, like 5. Okay, so now we added all these users, right? So I think again here we should print all of this out, since like we want to see if they got added properly, right? So print okay, I think what happened to print dot add. Oh, print here. So there we go. So we're printing basically that these users got added. And now let's say we want to use some of James's money, right? So print gateway dot use again James, and then here we're gonna use 13, and then this should be false, and then this should be true, right? 3, so false, true. Okay. Missing argument amount. Oh, I forgot the commas. Okay. So this is fine. And then I guess last thing here, we should use refill. So maybe now we'll add a lot more money for James, and then see if now he can like use the amount he needs, right? So here we use 3, we're at 10. Now we want to use 13, right? So let's go ahead and add like 3 back to him, and then this is going to be refill. And then we'll go ahead and try this again, right? So then this should return true, true, and then this should return true as well, right? So 5 trues, 1 not true. Here, let's run this. Okay. False, false, false. Wait, why is add returning false? Return refill. Okay. If user exists, customer ID return false. Okay, wait. Self-style customer and customer. Wait, this is. Oh, wait. Let me just read this real
Everything's
quick.
false.
Yeah, I think there's okay, return self. Okay, if not, user exists. So if this exists, it's gonna return true. So this would be false. This would not get passed here. Self dot plus equal. Okay, I think we can just like print stuff out, right? So print
I mean, I
cust
thought for these we're
ID.
gonna return the actual values instead of true or false.
Yeah, sure. I guess like we can do that as well then.
Okay. Well, I thought that's what you
Okay, so
initially proposed.
yeah,
But
initially, but like then this does not make sense. Like the checking if the user exists on top of every single one. Like it depends how like the state is managed here, right?
yeah.
Like so do you want me to add it like that, but or do you want me
No,
to just like put the keyboard
it's up to you how you want to design it, but yeah, just figure out what's going wrong here.
Yeah, sure. So I guess okay. So I guess user exists. Let's check this. Print cust ID exists. And then we just print this, right? Okay, I think let's just see that for now. Okay, James exists false, right? But James does exist. Return cust ID. Oh, so if user exists, this should return true, but it's saying that it does not exist. Why is that? Self customer at cust ID. Okay, wait, we can just print self customers. Whoa. Okay, wait. Okay, James exists false. Oh, okay. Okay, wait. Okay, my bad. Okay, wait. So I think that I found like the issue here. So if the user does if the user does exist here, we return false. Yeah. Okay, and then I guess let me let me remove these. And then let's see if all our logic makes sense. So it should be true, true, false, true, true. Okay, wait. So okay, so James had 12. Oh, I see. That's why. So we need to just refill with 4. Okay, yeah, there we go.
Okay, we're looking at a bunch of false. Okay, so we said false, true, true, true.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we should be testing?
Like, yeah, like I guess we can test like breaking things as well, right? So we should pass in, for example, here, a user that already exists, right? So print gateway dot add. Here we add James again, right? So and then the amount like doesn't matter, right? So this should return false, right? So we should get true, 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 false, right? So here we're checking, making sure that like both states for add, okay, for refill. We can call refill with a customer that does not exist, and we can check for like the true state here and the false state, right? So gateway dot refill.
Makes sense, but is there any other thing that we would want to test?
Like
right now we're just testing false and true.
Yeah, like but like everything here returns either false or true, no?
Mm-hmm. But what do we care about in our system?
So we could do like load tests, right? So like, okay, what if we fill this up with like 1,000 users, maybe? Here, let me think.
Like we're what is true and false telling us? It's kind of just telling us if operations were successful or not, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
So
what else is important in our system?
so wait, you said that true and false tells us if the operations were successful or not, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's telling us, right?
Okay. And then what else would we
Yeah. Think
care
about the
about in
system.
our
Like, what
system?
are we tracking? What do we even care about in this system? What's the currency?
Um Wait, so I'm like really confused on what the question you're asking here is.
Like, right now, we're just testing if operations succeeded or not,
Okay.
right? This. Could you think of other things that we could test besides like
Um
the edge cases? This is like, I think this is like fundamental to what we're doing here.
oh, I I don't think I can't think of anything, to be honest. Like
What's sort of the currency that we're working with?
um well, I mean, it's like it's just a balance, right? So
Yeah.
you want to, for example, check like okay, we could say it's USD, right?
Or I just want to check that the balance is actually being managed correctly.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
see. I
Does that
guess
make
like
sense?
oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
because
then
at the
I
end of the
think
day,
like
we have this AI gateway. We're tracking people's like credits, so we want to just make sure that it's being managed correctly, right?
yeah, then I guess for
Properly.
like the usage, just a helper function for usage of us testing here, right? Just going to be check state, right? And then what is going to print all the time is going to be print self dot customers, right? Right. So we get the state every single time. Okay, there we go. And then we can call this for like wait, what is the pro? Oh, wait, I see. Okay, right. So we can just call this for all like the states, right? So then uh or we can just actually just call this outside, right? So then here print self dot or wait gateway dot underscore check state, right? So then here what we're expecting is just these users being in there, right? So wait yeah, gateway refill. Did I miss something up here? Oh wait, okay, I messed. Okay, right. So then okay, all these balances look fine here.
Okay. What happens after you make changes?
Okay. Yeah, right. Let me just copy paste this. Okay, so here here the balance should for you should not change, right? Like it should stay at a constant 13. Or I mean 12, yeah, 12. So it stayed at 12. And then here we just use 3, right? So you should be at 9. So 12, 9. Yep, 12, 9. And then here we add 3 for you. I mean 4, right? So you should be back at 13 or up to 13. So 12, 9, 13. And then at the end, you should be at 0.
Nice. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's move on to the part 2. So
Sure.
now we have this AI gateway. We're able to add credits and refill credits. I want to set daily limits and weekly limits. This is a common thing with like Claude Code. So you could have credits, but they rate limit you. So yeah, let's just say the daily limit is you can use up 10 credits per day, and then weekly is 100 credits per week.
Wait, if it's 10 per day, right? Then you'll never reach the weekly one.
Sorry,
So
yeah,
that kind of
you're
useless.
smart guy. Weekly would be 30.
Okay. 30 credits a week, right? So so I guess like we can have like another okay. So we might have to like track like each transaction. It kind of depends on like how you want this to go. For example, whenever a day changes, right? So then all the like limits for the user should go down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, for example, for all of these functions we have now, they also have to kind of input the date as well, correct?
I said again.
So now since we're tracking per day, right?
Yeah.
Um, for all of these, for example, or like I guess mainly for use, um, another argument must be like the date as well, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
day, right? So, um,
Yeah.
right. So then when the day is passed in, then we can like do all of our calculations, and then whenever next day happens, um, we have to clear like the states for like everything, basically, right?
Yeah. And you could assume
Okay.
that this AI gateway is
Mhm.
not being called in a random order when it comes to you. Like we call use and we pass in the current time, so the current time is monotonically increasing.
Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? So I think like just I'm gonna write it out over here. So first things first, we should like be storing the biggest day, right? Store largest date, right? And then so I just have like a initial thought right now of okay, what do? We just track usage of each user on each day, right? But um when this day increments, I think just to save like just to save memory, now we can clear the usage of a single day, I think. And then how does this week work? So is the week just every 7 days, like should it be like rolling, like based on like okay, they used it for example on like the third day of the week, right? So then now that the next time they can use it is the third day of the next week, or is the week like just Monday to Friday, or like not Monday, like 7 days?
Should be rolling because
Okay,
if somebody just starts using it on Wednesday, we don't want to like, cap them.
rolling, rolling days
We don't want to start
for,
giving them credits right
hmm
away starting this Sunday. I mean,
yeah. So,
it's we honestly thinking about it, we could do any because I guess it's only the first week it messes with them.
hmm no, but then
So
like the initial like week stay for every single person is going to be different based on um their their first usage as well. And then I'm saying, is this the weekly limit going to be tracked just as they sign up, or when they first use?
just when they sign up,
Okay, so when a user signs up, their initial date is
or I guess let's think about this for a little. Suppose I use the API one day
mm-hmm.
and then it's been 2 weeks later and then I just use it again for the first time, but I use it on a Saturday and suppose it's supposed to refill or it's gonna my Windows on a Sunday. Well, does it matter essentially?
No, I think like what we just check is okay. The okay, first, are they at their weekly limit, right? And
Yeah.
then if they aren't, or like even if they are, I think we just basically just check, okay, what was the um last like transaction that they just made, right? What was the date for that? And then if that's already longer than 7 days, um then what we can do is basically just reset that state, right? And then um I guess now another thing we have to think about is um okay, has it been 7 days since their first day of usage? I think I think that's some more accurate right here is like okay,
Yeah.
has it been 7 days since the first entry or use of their usage? If it has, then we just clear that because okay, we don't care about that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So now we just care about this new say
Yeah.
okay, I think like
No, this it's a good conversation. I think let's just simplify this to say every Monday this thing is gonna reset. So every 7 days is gonna reset for everyone on the same exact day, and then for the weekly, and then daily it's just gonna reset. Pretty much daily, you have a daily usage. now tell me like what data structures are you gonna use in order to enforce these constraints, these limits?
Yeah. So I think for the daily, what we can do is so we can have another usage dictionary here, right? So it's going to be usage, right? And so this would be equal to, and I'm just thinking out loud, this might not be the final, but like I'm just just going with wait, I think, but let me just fix these comments. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So okay, usage is going to be something like this. Again, it goes from with customer ID, ID to a, and I guess this might also be another field here, right? So if we add another field here, usage, and then how we would store usage, I guess, is it should be like an array, right? Which is going to be monotonically increasing, right? So then we can probably just do like some sort of like I guess just basically just look at the header, the tail, and then store some data in that, right? So then, okay, we have a usage. This is going to be the array, right? What this stores might be a tuple, right? So maybe the day amount, right? Okay, day and amount. And then so this is just gonna hold every single transaction kind of, and then what we can do is, so like there's multiple things I'm thinking of right now, just like okay, some sort of prefix sum. Okay, we compute usage in the past week in constant time, right? Or like the amount in the past week in constant time, and then just go from that, or like from start to the end, and then that's for the week, and then for the day we can just okay, so what we can do is, so whenever there's a usage, right? For example, here we can say it's day 1 amount 1, right? And then I guess this makes more sense to be another array instead of an array. And then what we can do is, okay, we check the head of usage. Okay, is the day the same? If the day is the same, then we just add like the amount, right? So let's say it's 1 plus 1, right? And then if the day is different, then what we there's like two things I'm thinking about here. One is like okay, now we just have a new entry with this new amount, but then the days might be staggered, right? So it might be 1, and then maybe they use it on day 3, right? At like, for example, for 1, and then they use it at like day 7, right?
Mhm.
And then, and I think just this size of usage at max being 7, we can do basically any operation in constant time, right? So then actually what makes sense here is just for this to store the not even the day of the week, just the amount used on every day, right? So just okay, 0 times 7, and then we can just modulos increment, and then if we ever are if we ever add like a next week, then we just reset everything to 0, and that's all constant time, just because it's max 7. Does that make sense?
So we're gonna have this usage which is 0 times 7,
Or like the size of it's going to be, yeah, that's it. 0 times 7.
and
So
then
okay,
like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then
yeah. So just all 7 days of the week, and then for a given day, right? We can just check. Okay, is there usage here greater than this constant we have here, which is like, or if adding this new thing would be greater than a constant, then we can't use that. And then if it's not, then we check for the weekly, right? And then I guess for the weekly, it should just be the sum of every. I think maybe I'm kind of like going overboard with optimization here and not like just practicality. So what I
yeah.
think is that whenever we get to like the 7th day of a week, right? like an input for the 7th day of the week. So like, okay, whatever, day mod 7 equals 0, then we just reset the usage for everything. And then like, I know I'm going a little bit more on optimization
Such the
thing.
usage for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. Or now, another like way we can make sure like we'll have this usage state, and then let's say they don't use it for a while, right? We can have this global generation, right? So gen, right? And then so let's say let's say that we're at the end of a week, right? For something. Okay, no, we can basically, what we can do is, so this day is monotonic. Okay, day divided by 7, right? Or yeah, so day divided by 7. If this right here is like has changed, right? Then it's a new week, and then we just reset the state for the current thing, and then we can store the previous like kind of week, I guess, that we were at. Does that make sense? So this is kind of like lazily updating for user after the usage instead of every single time it's a new week we update. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Let's spend like next 5 to 10 minutes implementing it, and then yeah, let's see where you
Okay,
get to.
sure. So I
Yeah.
guess like, okay, for usage here, like most of this logic is going to be in usage, and I guess add does not matter here besides just, okay. What did we say it was going to be called? Yeah, usage. So usage that, and this is going to be an array of 0 times 7. Okay, so we have this state now. Refill, I think refill logic is fine here. So so now I think and we don't need the day. We just need the day for usage, and then also we need to store the day here. So self dot max day is equal to, and then I guess we can just set it to 0 since we said that it's based on Monday, right? And then we can have self dot what was the thing called, daily limit,
Yeah, this is gonna be
which
10.
will be 10, and then weekly limit 30, right? Okay, weekly limit. Okay, and then this is going to be 30. Okay, now, so whenever there's a usage, right, we have to check a couple of things, right? So we can do, okay, okay, we have the user. If user balance is less than amount, we return false. Okay, that's fine. And then now, we should also store a generation for a customer, like I said before, right? Or wait, let's see. Okay, yeah, gen, and this is going to be equal to 0, I guess, at first, since the day is going to be 0, and then here now, what do we check? We check if user at gen doesn't equal day divided by 7, right? And then here I think, or yeah, day divided by 7, right? So then this means it's a new week. We can just reset the state, right? User at gen equals day 7, and then also now usage just becomes this empty array again, right?
So what's day? Just a number? Like day 0, day 1?
Yeah, day
Okay.
day 0, day 1. Unless you want me to do like the
No, it makes sense.
Yeah,
But yeah, it makes sense.
usage is going to be equal to this. All right, so now we updated this usage, and then now what else do we check? Okay, if user at if user usage at day mod 7 is greater than or is less than. So if the amount, or I guess this plus amount here is greater than what was it, daily, right?
Yeah.
Self dot daily limit, then we return false, we can't use it, and then now we check for week, right? So then if user at usage sum, so if the sum of this is greater than, or I guess sum of this plus amount is greater than self dot weekly, return false. And then so now we kind of ensure, okay, it's like if we get down here, we can use it, right? So we don't need this check. But then what we do need to track now is also updating that amount as well, right? So then the user at usage at day mod 7 plus equal amount, and then we return true.
Yep.
Does this all make sense?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Could you just
Yeah.
walk me through it one last time, and then we'll just end it there?
Yeah, sure. I think basically all the changes we made were to do with, I guess, this one hash map here, and then the logic down here, right? So
Yeah.
then here we just add the usage. Okay, index 0 is Monday, and so on, and then how much they use on that day, right? So
Yeah.
originally a user is not going to spend anything yet, right? So is that 0, and then the
Yeah.
generation is going to be like which week, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so then refill. Okay, add to customer balance now in usage, right? First things first, before anything else, we have to make sure the user has enough money, right? So if the user does not have enough money, then we can just instantly return that.
Yeah.
Okay, they can't use it. Like the day stuff doesn't matter. Now the next thing is we check this generation thing. And what this generation tells us is what week it basically is, right? So then we're saying, for example, I think for the first week, right, this would be equal to 0.
Yeah.
So we don't have to reset these two states.
Yeah.
But for example, for a future week, maybe it's the 8th day, right?
Yeah.
Then, or like the 7th day, right? Then, yeah, it's 8. Like it depends, one base, 0 base, but basically when this flips, then we set this generation to update to 1 up.
Yeah.
And then
Makes sense. I
we
get that part.
yeah. I think here we also need to actually increase max day as well. But actually we're not using it right now.
Yeah.
So then we don't need that as well. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, this logic is fine. Now, okay, we check the two limits. Okay. Using this amount, will we go over our daily limit? If we do, okay, we can't use it. And then now we check, okay, weekly limit. Will we go over our weekly limit if we use this amount? If we are, then of course return false. And then here is just, okay, bookkeeping, use the amount, and then update the usage.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We're at time. How do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. I think like designs, like straight off the bat, I didn't have a solid like 100% design, but like as going through it, I did like construct some stuff. I think that testing kind of stumped me. Like maybe it was the wording, or maybe like I didn't understand it properly. But like I was like, it was kind of hard for me to get what exactly like what you were trying to tell me to do there. And then I think like, okay, at the end, maybe like I can definitely like, okay, clean up this state. Okay, like these two can be in their own helper function, or like all this logic can be in its own helper function, and like just separating state again. But then I think aside from that, like I think this went pretty well.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's walk through my feedback. I think for the first part, you definitely clarified the question well. You talk a little fast. I mean,
Oh.
you fixed it a bit later, but yeah, like you talk a little fast, so just make sure that you're not just like over, because I've worked with people who just talk really, really fast and people can't keep up. But
Okay.
I would just maintain like a solid pace. Don't talk way too fast, but just be mindful of that. And
Mm-hmm.
then one thing I asked you is about trusting the end user. And you should never trust the end user. In real product system, you should just assume that the user is always going to try to hack you, try to put in some parameters that's going to help them out or cheat the system. So, because you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm just going to add good documentation. We can trust them because they're developers, but you have to have the mindset that everyone's trying to hack you. Every
Oh
developer
no,
is a
what I
bad actor.
meant was like, okay, this like backend AI gateway is being used for other developers of our company, which
Okay.
are like providing the service, and then the actual customer like okay, that's client side like verification before like
Hmm.
doing anything, I guess.
Yeah.
But now that you bring up the point, it does actually still make sense because like okay, you can do client side like okay, make sure that the input in this form is a positive number, right? But then like at the end of the day, it's gonna be a request, right? They can just curl the request and still put in a negative number. So
Yeah.
I
Like
understand now.
any user could make their own fake browser, fake any headers, fake any data, and like
Yeah.
use this AI gateway is not. I don't know if we talked about it, I guess, but I mean, if it was shown to the customers, or this is like we're implementing customers here, so it's not really internal. This is people. These are customers that are not in our business
Hmm.
using our API. So they're always going to try to figure out a way to use the API to their advantage. And if they
Okay,
could
I see.
find a
I
way
see.
to like add balances when they're not supposed to, they're going to do it.
Hmm.
So it's a
Okay.
small thing, but if somebody asks you that, always remember never trust the end user because the end user is going to find a way to hack you and or leverage your system for their own benefit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing is instead of doing prints, you could also do some asserts as well.
Oh
That's
yeah. Oh
that's
yeah.
one thing if you just want to test it real quick. Sometimes it's easier to do assert so you don't have to keep reading the print statements, right? Instead of saying print and then read it and then try to look at the program output to see where if it was false and stuff, you could just say assert and then it would just break if it wasn't true.
Hmm.
That's one little thing that could go faster. Um, I think the first question it took about we stopped part 1 after 30 minutes. I think you should pump out that first part way faster than that. 10 to 15
Yeah.
minutes to save for
Okay.
part 2 and part 3, right?
Okay, there was a part three.
There isn't a part 3, but there in most companies there'd probably be a
Hmm.
part 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would this first part was a simple hash map, right? We have a balance
Yeah.
and then you increment decrement it. So should be 10 to 15 minutes. Usually
And then do you
okay.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I was just wondering, do you think like I should like you should be over communicating in interviews or um like writing the code and then like just waiting basically for like the interviewer to say like, okay, can you explain this? And then explaining something.
Yeah, I think your communication is good. It was just when you're implementing it. I think we started implementing in 8 minutes in, and it was done after 30. So it's like
Mhm.
22
Okay.
minutes. So I think probably watch the film over and just see where you could have sped up. But I would
Sure.
say try to get it done a little bit faster. Okay, let's
Okay,
talk
that
about
makes
the
sense.
second part. I think the daily limit, the rate limiting, you ask good clarifications as well. I think the
Hmm.
state could be heavily simplified. Like for usage, you could probably just have a hash map for day and then another one for week. And then just do the same logic for the
Uh
user,
wait, so
right?
like what but like at the end of the day and the week just have to like wouldn't the day just be in the week? Like first thing and then
So
second
what
thing is
what I
like
would do is increment the day as the day come and then also increment the week by doing the division.
okay, okay, I get it.
And then this way we don't lose data because you're losing data now. So if I ask you, oh, in day one ever, how much data or how much credits did they use? If I wanted to build like a graph to show their usage over the days, over the year, over the week, you wouldn't be able to
Okay, yeah, I get
reproduce
it.
that, right? So you lose data.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, okay, this is gonna use like a lot of memory if we just like keep on adding. That's why I kept on like saying like reset state and stuff.
It makes sense. what you mentioned there. This is just another way. I think it would have been more simple than doing this division and
Mm-hmm.
multiplication. But yeah, you eventually
Okay.
got in there. You should discuss the date format in advance, so you figured out that it was gonna be like just day 0, day 1, day 2 eventually, but you didn't say it
Mm-hmm.
up front.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
cause yeah, think about the important parts as well. Like yeah, like how are we gonna store date? How are we gonna keep track of date? What's the date format? It's gonna be a date time stamp. It's gonna be like year, month, date. Is it just gonna be like an integer? That's stuff that you should mention up front. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, you implemented the code, it works, but I mean, you did good. Those are just things you could improve it on to even do even better.
Yep, that makes sense.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, good things you did is obviously the clarifications was really good. You were able to break down the question. It was ambiguous, and you're able to break it down into the classes. I didn't have to tell you what functions to make and what it should return and what to check. You kind of brought all those things to light, which is good. You're able to, with part two, make existing changes to the code with minimal changes. Take so you're understanding how your code is structured and where to add your logic to solve the next problem that needs to get done. So you're able to extend your code. The way that you track, yeah, the way that you're just tracking state is one thing that you just need to make sure that it's clear on. So I think with this
Sure.
question, the most important thing is just tracking the state.
Yeah.
And yeah, spend a lot of time thinking about that, the data structures and how you're gonna update and maintain the state. But I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're able to get the question right, the test cases. But yeah, the main like those other things that I mentioned would only be the negative pointers. But yeah, if you fix that, it should be good.
Okay,
Those
perfect.
make sense though, like the feedback.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just rewatch the stream and
And then
take a look through
another
all that.
another thing I was gonna ask you after for part three, which is you probably wouldn't have to implement it, but I would have asked you how to make this API item pwn. So for example, somebody adds a balance, but then their front end sort of tweaks and they don't know that they just added a balance. So they click add a balance again.
Yeah,
So
sure. So I think each transaction just can just have a unique ID, and then or like each request, I guess, and then um okay, if they're spamming the same request, right? Then we know to not just keep on adding the balance, right? So we just have a quick check for that.
okay, yeah. That's think about that as well. Like if this was
Mm-hmm.
deployed in production, they're gonna ask follow-ups like that. Like how can you make this item pwn, etc. like that. But yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Thanks for coming out. See you next time.
All right, take care, James.
See you, man. Peace.
Bye bye.
All right, last one. P codes. Holy. Chat, how do you think he did, the last guy? P codes in the building. Who's next is P codes. P codes from Ireland. Ramen, good job, man. Ramen, what are your thoughts about that interview? How do you feel? How was that experience? I think you're good. We got you right. Just think about those things that I said and just take it to the next level there.
Hello.
Yo, P Codes in the building. What's up, man?
What's good? What's good?
Let me get you on the screen again. How's life?
Cool. Good, man. Good so far. It's just college work and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm. What about you?
Have you been dropping? I feel like you haven't dropped as many videos recently, but you got some good collabs with the Netflix guy. Sick.
Yeah, I got some collaborations. No, I had to take a little bit of a break, but I just uploaded one today with Alpha Code.
Yeah, that's sick.
The design Netflix one. Then, but I have a lot more in storage. Just last week was a bit slow.
Yeah.
So,
Lots of
that's all.
schoolwork.
Yeah, a lot of schoolwork. Honestly, trying to balance everything, and the videos that I have coming out soon, like, require a bit more editing. So it takes me
Usually
longer to
edit
do.
yourself or get someone to do it.
It just depends on the video because I have like 2, 3 types of videos. Like, I have videos where I'm on call with somebody and I'm doing an interview or something. I would edit out myself. Then I have videos where I'm talking by myself. Like, I'm just talking about what I do, and then there's like images there. I'm talking about, like, let's say 1 year of computer science in 10 minutes. That kind of videos, I'd get my editors to do that.
Nice. Just getting you up on the screen.
Cool. No problem.
You got any projects you're working on? You want to talk about to the chat?
Okay, I do have a startup that I'm working on right now. But we're early in the developing the MVP, so like we haven't made any announcements or anything about it
Yeah.
yet. So that's the only thing I'm working on now.
Stealth
I don't
mode.
actually want to talk about it yet, but yeah.
Stealth mode.
Exactly. Exactly. I have it in my like it's on my LinkedIn. Like, I'm there as a co-founder. Like, it's made, the LinkedIn company's there, but I just haven't made any big announcements on it yet.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna send you this link. We're gonna get to it.
CoderPad?
Yes, sir.
Cool, yo. Cool, yo.
Chat, ask him some questions quick. I have to grab some water. Wait, give me a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let me open up the chat. Chat. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm up on the stream now. Cool. What's good, chat? What's good, chat? What's good? We gotta do this CoderPad. Codes and codes. All right, perfect. Perfect. I'm doing a video. Good. Let's get into this. Let's see how much he challenges me today. Let's see. See how much he challenges me today.
What do you think about the Ishaan guy? Were you tuned in?
I actually joined very late, so I only saw like the literally last minute of it.
But do you know this guy or no?
Nah, I've never heard of him before, but I just seen 3,000 LEETCODES solved. I was like, huh?
He's kind
I
of.
thought there was only 3,000 questions. Like, what?
He's kind of popping off on LinkedIn because he's doing this challenge to solve every single LeetCode question there is. So Like he's up to like 25K followers on LinkedIn, and every day he's posting.
Yeah, I seen his LinkedIn when he got in the chat. Wait, Ishaan Agrawal.
At Extend, yeah, he's kind of going.
Yeah,
He's
what's
kind of going
what's
viral.
Extend?
It's a YC startup. Not sure. It's more like document processing. Not a lot of. It's not probably not well known because it's very specific.
Oh, he's in YC.
Yeah.
That's pretty big, honestly. That's pretty big. So like, has he gotten there yet, or he just like got invited?
Or the company he works at is YC, but he's an interesting guy because he's a self-taught programmer, and then
Mhm.
was able to get good at LeetCode, and he does contests and was able to get to like he places in the top 100 every time on LeetCode contests, which is crazy.
That is insane. His life is data structures and algorithms. Jeez.
Yeah, 3,000 questions is insane, but yeah.
Like,
Okay, I'm gonna figure
what do you
out.
actually do? Anyways,
Okay, I'll probably ask you like regular Peralta 75 questions, like my typical interviews.
you have a 75. I saw
Yeah.
somebody say it in the comments. I was like, are they trolling?
No, I have my own. Bro, like, I had to because people were out here promoting other lists. I was like, hell no. Like, go to
Okay, cool.
LeetCode 150, go to Blind. I was like, nah, go to Peralta 75.
Okay. Okay.
Vertical
Are
integration.
you gonna what's it called? Record on your side?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool,
You
cool,
want to post it
cool.
on your channel or should I post it on mine? It's up to you. What you want to do?
I thought we can do both, no?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can post it and then you can post it as well.
Yeah, I'll use a
Doesn't matter
collaborator.
because all right. Let me think of a couple. Let me look through my list and pull out a couple good questions.
All right, no problem. Is there somewhere that I can access this list, or is this internal?
Yeah, I'll send you my list.
Cool.
JamesPeralta.com/Peralta75.
Oh, I see. Only a few topics: array strings, backtracking out, programming, linked list, trees, graphs, design.
Yeah, I kind of made these lists based on like LeetCode 150, Blind 75. They're very good lists for getting started, but this list right here is more. I looked at questions I actually got asked in interviews, and then I looked for 75 questions that are very similar to questions I'm used to seeing in actual interviews, and these are pretty practical questions, I would say. I wouldn't really just do this list unless I had a already understand some of the fundamentals. This is more just
Okay.
you want to do company specific questions or questions that you actually might get asked.
Oh, okay, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, I got a couple questions.
All right.
Okay, I'll start this up. Let me chat. Sound is okay or not? Chats, give a thumbs up if it sounds okay. Any echoing? P-Codes, you want to say something just to make sure audio's good?
Hello, hello. Audio good, audio good. Test, 1, 2, 3.
All right. Okay. How's it looking on your side though? Are you looking at the stream and seeing like how do you like your?
Oh, I wasn't looking at the stream anymore because I thought you were selecting a question, so
Okay,
I
it's
just
all
went
good.
away.
All right. Okay, let's get this started. Hey everyone, so today we
Alright.
got P-Codes and we're gonna go through another coding interview. P-Codes, you wanna quickly introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Patrick. I'm a second year computer science student that lives in Dublin, Ireland. I have done an internship in my first year of college, which was last year. We're at HubSpot, and I got a return offer for that, so I'm going to be starting again at HubSpot in April this year as well. So I have a YouTube channel where I do perform mock coding interviews and tell people about my journey to help people out there that are trying to get to the same place by showing them how I got there, so that they can take whatever they want and implement it to their daily routine and into getting there. So yeah, that's
Yes,
what I do.
sir. All right. Thanks for hopping on again. Sure, we'll have a lot more collabs in the future. These are always fun.
100%.
So today we're gonna
Mhm.
do a coding interview. We're gonna try to do this sort of Fang style. You're gonna be asked two questions in the span of around 50 minutes. So we're gonna spend 20 to 25 minutes per question, and we're gonna aim it at around intern or new grad difficulty. So let's start off with the very first question. What's your programming language of choice?
Python 3.
All right, Python 3. What about 4? You don't use the latest?
I don't. Is Python 4 out? No,
No,
it's
I'm just
not.
trolling. I
Yeah,
think
sure.
Coding Jesus asked somebody that, like, what's your favorite version of Python? He said like 6 or 8 or something.
Like, nah,
All right.
come on, man.
So this first question is we're gonna add two numbers with decimals. So we're gonna be given 1, 2, 3, 4.22 plus, and you could give another number like 2, 3, and then just write me a function that takes in num1 and num2, and then returns num1 plus num2. And these are going to be given to you as a string. What we don't want to do is just convert it to a number and then add them. We want to keep things in a string. Or yeah, we can't cheat by just turning them to an integer and adding them. Does that make sense?
Okay. These are both given as strings. I'm gonna add two numbers and return. Okay, the two numbers added. Okay. All right. How long can the decimal be, or is it like, is there a fixed size, or it could be however many decimal places?
It could be a fixed size, or it could be any number.
Okay. Okay. Uh, all right. 1, 2, 3, 22.22, 23.22. All right. All right. Guess I'm thinking of this like from the math standpoint. Like if I'm adding these two as numbers, I start with the far right number, and then I of each one. So like I start off with, let's say, the 3 here and the 2. Actually, I'm gonna ignore the decimals for now and just look at like the whole number. But like I look at this 3, like the last numbers for each one. This 3 and the 2 added together to be 5. That's gonna be the last number. And then I iterate like backwards. Then I look here, this 2 and this 2. Then this would be 4. Add them together to be 4. Then I'm building up my result in that way. So then the result would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I was just adding up 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and sorry, and 23. Like so, like that's like the for grade 6 math way of adding
Yeah.
two numbers. So like with decimals, I guess I'm trying to think like I might handle them separately, handle the decimal points separately, but it would work in the same way, like of adding the two numbers at the end. Then yeah, so then this would be point. Add the two numbers, this would be 5, and then add the two numbers, it should be 4. So then this would be, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.45. Is that correct?
Mm,
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, so I'd work in that way. I just look at the far right number for each one and build the results going to the left. And then that will then give us the two numbers added together one by one. But obviously there's the case where we can have a carry, which would be when we have something like 7 and 5. And in this case here, I'd add these two together, I'd get 12. So then I know that I can put 2. I'd use 2 in this current position at the end. I'd have 2, and then I carry the one over. So like I'd keep track of a carry. I pick it up, I carry the one over, and then I use it here. So then this would be like 12 plus 2, which would be 14. So then this would give 4 here, and then the carry would then keep getting pushed over and over until it's not needed anymore, kind of thing. So like that's how I'd handle the carry. Like I have a variable carry that I'd use while I'm iterating, and then like if I have a carry, then I'd add it to it. But if I don't have a carry, then I won't. Kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking so far.
Okay. So you're gonna break
I'm
it. So are you gonna break out the decimal and handle decimal separately and stuff, like you mentioned, or no?
I think I will handle decimal separately, but I'm trying to think like, do I need to handle this separately? Because I'm just trying to see this case here when we have, let's say we had 60 and 45. It should be 5, then okay. Over here, like if I'm doing it the normal way, 0 plus 5 is 5. We have 5 here, then 6 plus 4 is 10. So then obviously it'll be 0, 5. Then I'd have a carry of 1, which I can then add to the. But with the decimal, like if I go over, I can only ever stay. Wait a second. Oh yeah. So like obviously 0.6 plus 0.45 will just give us 0.5. Point, point, wait, 0.5 or 0.05? Hold on. Yeah, that would just give us 0.05, and then it would add 1 to the actual number. So like obviously this plus 0.60 would just be 132 12322.23, sorry, 0.05. I believe so. So yeah, okay. So I think I can handle the decimals the same way as I'm handling the whole number. But I might change my mind on that as I'm going along. But does that make sense? Like how I'm gonna do it, how the algorithm will work?
Yeah. So just doing elementary math, handling carries.
Essentially, yeah.
Is there any other things you need to consider here, or other edge cases?
Okay. Okay. Well, like there is the case where because obviously these numbers aren't the same amount of, they don't have the same amount of numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I'd have 2 pointers for each number, and we'd run the loop while we have one or the other inbound. So like if this one now goes out of bounds, we would just be looking at the numbers here, kind of thing. We wouldn't care about the right one. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay.
So we're just adding on these numbers. Like if one of them goes out of bounds, we're just adding on these numbers. Yes, we might still have a carry, so I'd still account for that as well. But we're only looking at the numbers in one side and just ignore the rest here.
Makes
But
sense.
yeah, but then obviously as I'm looping backwards, I'm gonna ignore the dot, of course. Like that's natural. I'm not just gonna ignore the dot. Like if the current character is a dot, then I'm gonna ignore it. Will they always have a decimal point? Like, or could there be whole numbers?
I mean, it's a good question. Let's just assume that there's always a decimal, so it could be, if there's no decimal though, it's just .0.
Okay, that's 0. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're good. Go ahead and start implementing.
All right. So def add. This is gonna take num1 and num2, and these are both in string representation. Okay. I'm starting off 2 pointers, which we'll be looking at the end of the string. So left one's gonna be then num1 minus 1, and I'm gonna be left line num2 minus 1. So we're starting at the end of both strings. We're going to be building up a result string, and that's what we're going to be returning. Now, with 2 pointers start there. Now the algorithm, we're going to have while L is greater than 0 or R is greater than 0. So while one of them are in bounds, because obviously one could go out of bounds, and then we just take the rest of the numbers from one of them. But then we're going to also have to have a variable for the carry, which I'm going to start off as 0. Now, the current number will be the sum of the 2 digits at the current index. So like at the very end, we're going to add these two together.
Yeah.
But I'm going to first check. Okay, I'm going to first check about if we have a decimal. But I think I need to check if we have a decimal first. Okay, if L greater than 0 and one. I'm trying to think. Actually, I just thought of another case here where we have something like this. We have something like this where we have 12322.4 plus 23.60. With the way my algorithm is designed, I would add this 4 to the 6, and then it would be 23. Like it would be 6-4, when it should not be that. Because I'm thinking, how can I account for that now? So I think I would handle the decimal separately then, just because of this solely. Just want to think a little bit into how I'm going to do that now. Okay, 6-0 there. Okay. 4. I guess I try to think I could pad it with zeros. Like with the decimal places, I could just pad it with zeros. Like see, and this is just a wild thought. Like I can see which one has the most decimal places, and then I just pad the other one with that amount of zeros. So like to make up the remaining. So like obviously here, like this has 2 decimal places, this has 1. So I'd add on 1 more 0 to make it 0.40. So then I can run the algorithm in the same way.
Yeah.
So I could do this before going into the loop. So then that could fix that issue. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah. Add padding at the end. So to handle different. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So non-decimal places, I'm gonna like check the non-decimal places for both of them. Non-decimal places is equal to, okay, I'm just gonna say 1 is equal to, I'm gonna split both of the numbers. So 1.split, use a split function, which will give me an array containing everything to the left of the dot and to the right of the dot. And this will then, so non-decimal places, this will have on the left side the whole number, then on the right side the decimal number. Then I'll just get the length of the second one, because the second item in the list will be the decimal number. So now let's get the length of that. Okay, then I'm gonna do the same for the second number. 2.split. Okay, now how to handle adding the padding. Okay. I think I might just split them fully. So I just get like whole 1 and decimal 1. I think this will make the most sense. So then when I perform the like adding the padding to the decimal places, I'll just then add that back to the whole. Does that make sense? Whole 2.
You split and you have whole, and then you're taking num2. What's this?
Sorry?
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, wait, let me just like explain that one more time. So like I'm gonna split them by the dot. So then this obviously num1.split is gonna contain the whole number on the left and the decimal number on the right. So I'm just gonna then destructure this with whole 1 and decimal 1. Then I'm gonna compare the length of each of the decimal places and obviously pad. So I'm gonna find first the max length between the 2 decimal places. So in this case here, when we have 0.4, the max length is gonna be 2. So then I'm gonna pad both of them I'm gonna do some string formatting, and then I'm gonna pad both of them with zeros up until that max length. And then I'll just reconstruct the number string again by adding on the decimal places after padding to the whole number. Does that make sense? Good. Now max max decimal places. I just love the scripted variable name. Sorry, max when decimal 1 when decimal 2. Do I have okay? Yes, on max decimal places. No, decimal. I'm just gonna let's say decimal 1 is equal to the f. I don't exactly remember the syntax for this. Hold on. I think yeah. Decimal 1 dot. It's taking me back to first year learning Python programming.
What are you trying to do here?
But do I think I could definitely do this with a loop. But like I was just gonna do f string formatting. There's a way to like set a max length for the word, and then like I can add padding by a specific thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
I think pad with zeros fixed to
You can
the
ask the
left.
AI assist right there if necessary.
Is there?
Yeah, AI assist. Ask.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Hold on. Wait, can I ask it the whole
Yeah,
thing? Like,
you could. Yeah, you could ask it to maybe not the question, but with that specific query that you had. Feel free.
yeah, how do I format this? Max decimal. Oh, we're using AI in interviews now. Wow. How do we format? Okay. Wait to have. That's what the basis. Pad with zeros to the fixed size to the left. Wait. How do I say this? Yeah, pad with zeros. That specific thing there. Does it have an agent, or is it just gonna like talk to me?
Just simple GPT-5 mini
Okay.
responding.
Okay. X dot max decimal places. Okay, I don't think I prompted it right. All right. How do you format the string to size?
So what are you trying to do? You have a decimal 1, and you're trying to add
Yeah,
enough
so-
zeros so it matches.
Essentially, yeah. Like I'm trying to like, let's say this was I'm trying to like add, like if the max size was 2, I want to pad with zeros. Essentially, I think I'll just make a loop.
What about? Does it have to be decimal 1, or it could be decimal 2 as well? What if decimal 2 is smaller?
I'm doing decimal 2 as well, so I'm gonna
Okay.
do both of them to that.
I
specific
see.
fixed.
I see. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just gonna ask this one more time. Whole string.
Here,
One more time.
it said this though, so maybe you try this. Left just. That would have said left just.
Is that? That's a thing? I don't even know.
Looks like it.
Let
Try
me
it out.
this out.
That's what the chat said.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's the red? Invalid character and token. Hold on. It's giving me like a red. Issue here.
Okay. It's all good then. We may try whatever you can. That was just. Let's see. Do you have the max decimal places? Yeah.
Wait, what is this invalid character /U200B? What's that even mean? Okay.
All right. Dude.
I'm just gonna do an if. I'm honestly just gonna do an if statement. I think I might just do an if statement. But okay. If len decimal 1 less than max decimal places, I am the range I'm just gonna like loop. Okay, if in
Yeah.
range, then max decimal places minus minus len decimal 1. So that's the amount of decimals we're missing. We're going to decimal 1 plus equals 0. And do the same for decimal 2. I think this does the job. So if the length of decimal 1 is less than the max decimal places, we're going to loop over the amounts of remaining we need to add, which is going to be max decimal places minus len decimal 1, and then we're going to add zeros. I'm just going to print this out and then check if it works. Decimal 2 and decimal 1. I'm just going to pass here. Is it okay if I just test this real quick?
Yeah.
123.4. 123.60. We have that still in there. 60 and 40. Yeah, all good. Perfect. Okay. All right. No, I'm just gonna keep that there just in case for the left. Okay, so now now I'm gonna reconstruct num1 and num2 equal to whole 1 plus decimal 1 whole 2 plus decimal 2. Okay, it's a comma. Decimal 1. What's wrong with decimal? Okay, good. Cool. All right, now we're looping backwards. We have L and R already set. If what was I actually gonna do here? If L is greater than 0 and num1. Oh yeah, and this is a check for if it's a dot, and num1 equals to a dot, and we're gonna pass. It's gonna continue. L plus equals 1, then continue. Not minus, sorry, minus equal 1, then continue. Now, if R is greater than 0 and num2 R equals to dot, then we're going to do the same thing but with R. So that's telling the case of the dot. Now, after this, we can then add the two numbers together. Now, I'm just gonna say num is equal to num1L plus num1 plus num2R. And this is gonna give, okay, these are strings right now. You said you don't want me to convert to int. Am I allowed to convert singular?
Yeah, you can
Numbers to int?
singular digits. You can.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay. So now we have the two numbers added together plus carry. Okay. Now carry is equal to how we're going to calculate carry is going to be num divided by 10. I think that should be okay. Num divided by 10, floor divided by 10, multiplied by 10 again. I think so. Because, okay, let's say we had, no, because if we have a carry, the carry can only ever be 1 or 0. It's not going to be like a carry 20. I believe so. Yeah, because like 9 plus 9 is going to be 18. The max carry is going to be 1. Then if we're doing like 18 plus 4, the carry is then going to be 2. Okay, carry can actually be greater than 1. So yeah, I'm going to do num divided by 10. So that's the carry. So then the carry is going to be, so then when I'm adding the carry, it's going to be carry times 10 that I'm going to be adding to the number. Because obviously if if we had these two numbers added together, which would be 11, then carry would be 11 divided by 10, which is 1. 4 divided by 10, which is 1. Yeah. So then in the next number, when we're adding the next number, we want to add the two numbers plus the carry times 10, which is 10. Does that make sense? Cool. So that's how I'm gonna be updating my carry now.
Carry times 10. Oh wait, carry. Well, I don't get the carry times 10.
Oh, because carry right now, like if obviously 5 plus 5 will give you 10, right? But here I'm only storing num divided by 10. So I know I have to carry 1 0. That's what I'm trying to represent with the carry variable. It's like I'm carrying 1 0. So then if I want to add 1 0, I have to multiply that by 10 and add it to the number. Does that make sense?
Okay. Let's see.
Okay. Now we want to. I just realized now I'm appending to the left, so I might actually go for a. I'm thinking because of the nature of me. No, I could just reverse at the end. Yeah, I'm just gonna reverse at the end. So I'm just gonna return the reverse version. But yeah, res plus equals res plus equals num as a string. Do you want the return to be a string or number?
String.
Okay. Okay. Okay, what I'm noticing now is because of the nature of me adding padding to the decimal places, that means that naturally we should be getting. I'm trying to think, like, because if we find a decimal place, I'm not right now. I haven't added the decimal place to the result, so I think I'm no. Okay. Yeah, right now I'm adding the decimal point to the result, so I need to add it. But I'm thinking with the way the algorithm goes now, because they're at the same size, we should L and R should land at decimal places at the exact same time.
Okay.
So
That
then
makes
knowing
sense.
that, I think then I don't need to check both of them. I just check one, and then I can decrement both of them on res plus equals dot like this. I think this should work. And then continue. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Try it out.
I'm just in case. I think this should work anyways. 2 1 2 R equals dot. I don't think that's necessary, but I'm just adding it in just in case. Now, so that's handling the dot. Now we've added two numbers and add carry times 10 to get the number. Then we're gonna get the carry. Res plus equals string num. Cool. Now this is gonna build up the string as we go along, but I haven't handled if.
Let's try running it first. Run it on some simple examples, and let's see.
This right here, I know this won't work because
Okay.
I haven't added functionality for when we go when the numbers don't have the exact same amounts on the left side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I guess I could pad those two, but that can reduce me from what's it called, having to add some extra loops in here. But like if we run this right now, it's not gonna work perfectly. So I'm just gonna add the functionality before I run it.
Sure.
Okay. I think I'm gonna make this an and then I'm gonna have a separate loop down here for while L greater than 0. Res plus equals string. Res plus equals string num1 L. Okay. And as we add this, we're gonna L minus equal 1. And this should be greater than or equal to. Sorry. Because obviously we can use 0. All right. So this is like R has gone out of bounds. So obviously this loop here is while we have numbers for both numbers. Sorry, while we have digits for both numbers. So once we go out of bounds on one, these loops down here will do the rest. So like obviously this will run in the case of we've run out of bounds with the number to the right with num2. So then we're just filling it in with num1 plus carry. Hold on. Plus carry times 10 again. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Times. Where's times? Okay, times 10. Okay, and we're gonna update our carry. You could see. I'm gonna need to get this num. Sorry, I'm gonna take it to int number now. Plus carry times 10. Okay. Hold on a second. Plus carry times 10. Yeah, and then we're gonna res plus equal a number, and carry is now gonna be num divided by 10, just like we did before. Okay. So I'm just going back over this one more time to make sure I'm getting this right. So we're gonna get the number which is num1l plus the carry times 10. Then we add it to our result normally, and then we set our carry to be num divided by 10, so we can use that going forward. Okay, yeah, I think that's good for this. Now I'm just gonna do the same thing for R, and that should handle that case.
Same thing for R. Okay.
For the num2. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And R minus equal 1. So I believe this is the full algorithm, but we could still have a carry at the end of this. So yeah, I'm just gonna res with equal carry. If carry, then I'm gonna run res with equal carry. Carry times 10. And string representation. Okay. I think that should handle it, because obviously we could end with like we could have an 80 plus 20. Then we'd finish off adding on 2 zeros. So like the algorithm would do the 2 zeros, and then at the very end we'd have a carry of 1, and then we'd add on to the result 10. We'd add on to the result carry. Yeah, we wouldn't want to add carry times 10. We want to just add carry. Yeah. We'd want to just add carry. So then this would just add on 1 to make 100. I think that's everything. I'm just gonna read the code from the top, and then we can run it.
Let's walk through line by line.
Yeah. Cool. So we have our left and right pointer starting at the end of each number. It's fine.
Sure.
And we have our carry set to 0. That's cool. We start off with no carry. The result string is empty. We break down the numbers to the whole number and the decimal number. And I noticed one issue already. But yeah, max decimal places is the max between the two lengths. And then if one of the lengths are less than the max, we're going to pad on the zeros, just with the for loop there. Now I'm noticing when I'm adding these two back together, I did not add back the dot. Sorry, so I'm going to add the dot now.
Sure.
I'm going to add the dot now. And plus. That's why you always got to look through your code again. But yeah, so back to this now. Yeah, so now I'm going into these two loops that one while we're in bounds for both of them. And if we're inbound, we don't need to have this is a redundant check because it's already in the while loop. And if one or the other is equal to dot, I don't think I need to check both of them, but I'm gonna leave it in for now, just in case, because I don't know. I believe I'm not even bringing down my pointers, so that's another one. Let's see. So the pointers are going down at the same rate, so they should both reach a dot at the same time. So I'm just gonna put num1l in there.
Okay.
Now we decrement both pointers and we add the dot to our result, and then we continue. Now, as we go along, we add the two numbers at the specific indexes, and then we add on carry times 10. Let's say if it was 2 plus 3, and then we had a carry of 1, this would then add it to, we make it 15. So then we add 5. We add 5 here, and then we carry 1 again. Okay. So I think this should work for the carry. But let me just think of specific cases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Okay. So now with 88 here, we're gonna add 8 and 3 together. Obviously, first we have no carry, which we just add 0. So then this would add 2 to our. This will add, sorry, not 2. I can't even do math anymore. This will add 1, and we'll now have a carry of 1. When we go to this second one here, we would add the 2 plus 8, which would be 10, and then we plus carry times 10, which would be 1 times 10, which would be 10. So then we'd add the 10 plus 10, which would be 20. Then we'd end up putting a 0 here. We end up having a 0 here, and then now our carry is 2. So then when we go here, we would we'd have a carry of 2. We go out of bounds, of course, and then we go down to the while L is greater than or equal to 0. And then we'd add the number at L, which is 1, plus carry times 10. Or I think I just add carry.
I'm not
pretty sure I
convinced
just
this
add carry.
part's gonna work. What this?
Hmm?
Pretend we had 9.9.9. Right.
Mhm.
So could you just walk this? Suppose this we get 8 here, right? And then what's carry?
Sorry, carry is 1.
Carry is gonna be 1.
Yeah, because the 9 plus 9 is 18. So then 18 divided by 10 is going to be 1.
8. Okay, but num is 18. So num here is gonna be 18 plus 0. So num is equal 18, right?
Okay, num is equal to 18. So I need to add num modulus 10 into the result string. So yeah, because I'm shaving off the first one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the carry is num divided by 10, and then I'm adding to the string num mod 10. So then obviously this would now add 8 as it should. We'd reach the 2 dots, which would skip. Then we'd still have the carry of 1. Then we would be adding 9 plus 9, which would be 18. But then we're adding on 10 to 18. So then I'll make it 28. So then we'd end up putting another 8 here. We end up putting an 8 here. So, oh, sorry, this would be 8.8. Yeah, we'd end up putting an 8 here. And then we'd have a carry of 2, which would then add over here. Oh, sorry. Which we then add at the end with the if carry.
Carry is a
Parentheses
2
string
or
carry.
1 carry?
Carry
What's
would be
this
a 2
left
in this
is
case.
greater than equal to 0 part? While left.
Yeah, this is if we go out of bounds on the right. So if left had like way more numbers. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
If it had way more numbers, we just keep on adding the numbers here. And then, yeah.
But if it
I
had
should
way
be-
more numbers, wouldn't it stay longer? Because you're starting from the back, and if it's an array like this.
Say that again?
Like if left had more numbers, it would reach the end here before or after the shorter number.
Yeah, if it had more numbers, yeah, it would reach the beginning after. And then that's what these handle.
Okay, so if left is greater than equal to 0. Oh yeah, just walk me through this part then now. If we have
That's which part?
yeah, just these last conditions. Just want to make sure.
All right. All right. So hold on a second. So the wait, where I'm bugging. Sorry. Yeah. So while the left is greater than or equal to 0, this is in the case where, let's say these were whole numbers and we had 23. R would end up going to less than 0, which would be -1, but we still have left being at 0. So then this will run this loop here. So then now we're just looking at this note, this letter here, this character here. Does that make sense?
Okay, while left. Okay, then we go left.
Yeah. So then now we're gonna increase. We're gonna construct the number, which is the number at that specific index plus our carry, which in this case would be 0. Then we'd increase. We'd add to results string num. I think it should still be num mod 10. These should all be num mod 10 because we don't want to. Because in the case where we have a carry, we don't want to keep on that. We don't want to keep on that 10. We just want to get the number to the right, not the 10.
Makes sense.
Now,
I think
yeah. So now,
don't worry about dry running it completely. Just try to get it to work. So run it. Let's run it on some test cases and let's see if you're able to debug if it's breaking or not.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Yeah, it seems we did not reach the dots at the same time. Okay. Okay, so obviously I'm getting invalid literal for base 10 dot. Okay. But in this case, obviously here, I'm checking num1l is equal to dot. With the way that the algorithm is assigned, obviously R and L start. Trying to think why this is happening. Now, I'm just gonna print out num1 and num2 first, now we can see. Yeah, so we're padding correctly. Now, yeah, so now R and L are starting at the same, are starting at the very end of each number, and they're going back at the same rate. We're decreasing R and L at the same rate. So, like, knowing this as we go, like, obviously, let's say we had 1, 2, 3, 0.23. And if we had this right here, R and L would be here. We do our operations. We decrease L and decrease R. Then R and L will be here. We do, we do our operations here. And then R and L will decrease again. So then they would both hit the dot at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why this is happening if they're both hitting at the same time. I think I have a logical issue here then. There's definitely a logical issue here. Because I am decrementing both of them at the same time. So they should naturally hit the dot at the same time, given the fact that the decimal numbers are equal length.
Is that the error
So
though? How could you
error is
debug
saying
that's the error? Or
invalid. It says invalid literal for int with base 10, and it was giving me a dot.
Okay.
So it's like I'm trying to convert a dot to integer.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely hitting a dot. And I'm confused how I'm hitting a dot. That's the only thing. Because if, like you see now, you see that error? No, to. Very good. So this is a. Okay, now we have 2 dots. Okay. Like, I'm just trying to see why. Because the decimal numbers are of equal length, and I'm decrementing L and R at the same time. These naturally should hit the dots at the same time. Okay, I'm just gonna print out the
here. Let's just go through a very small case, like 9.9 plus 9.9, and then just add as many print statements as you want to debug it.
Cool. Okay. Oh, this worked fine, but
Or
this is not the right
yeah,
number.
not the right number. Yeah.
This is just not the right number at all. So I think it's an issue with carry times 10. Do I really need to add carry times 10? I don't think I do. Yeah, I definitely don't, because let's see a case of carry. 8 plus 8. Let me see me at the top. 8 plus 8 will give me 16. So then I'd have 6 and then the carry be 1. I just want to add 1 to the left. But then if I had 11 plus 18 plus 18, yeah, the carry is 1. I just want to have 2, 3. And 18 plus 18 is 36. Obviously, 8 plus 8 will give me a remainder of 6. Then the carry would be 1. So then if we just add the carry, which is 1, to this one, this would be 2 plus 3, which would be 3, which would be 36. So yeah. So yeah, just carry, not carry times 10. Minor issue there. Let me just remove this too. Hold on. Okay, we'll know how to run it.
Is it 19?
I think that's correct. Yeah, 19.8. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? 9 plus 9 is 18.
Yeah.
0.9 plus 0.9 is 1.8.
Yeah.
Then I'm adding on to 18, so that's 19. Yeah, so that should be fine.
Let's go with 9. Let's add some bigger numbers.
Yep. That's 29.8. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've encountered an issue. Okay, we encountered the issue when did you add a 2 here?
I just added different lengths on the decimals.
All right, so I think the decimal, there's an issue with the decimals then, okay.
That worked, but now there's
Yeah.
a couple dots.
Okay, I'm just gonna print out L and number 2R. Wait, actually, I'm just gonna print out, if either of them is this, then I'm just gonna print out the number. Num 1L, just to see where they both land at. Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing, yeah, they're not in sync then. That's weird. That is because the L and R are being set before I make the new decimal, because obviously now I'm making a new decimal, which could be longer. So then L and R would be inconsistent. So I'm gonna set these way down here after I've made the new decimal, because if we added an extra 0, we wouldn't be looking at that 0. We'd be looking at what the previous to last number was.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Makes sense. Good catch. It looks like
Cool. Seems like we're still. Oh, sorry. This is after. So no, not after here. It's after the whole thing. Yeah, right there. All right. Looks good. I believe that's right. 9 plus 8 is 28.
it should
And then we're adding on
just
the carry
29, right?
Huh?
It should just be 29 flat.
Which one?
Like your 19.91 plus 9.9 should be 29 flat.
Oh no, that would be if
29.0.
it was 9.09. That would
Oh yeah,
be
you're
flat.
right. You're right.
But yeah. So I think 9.09 should give us, let's run this. I think that should be 29.0. Yep.
All right, let's do like a bigger number, 9.910 or.
Okay. Let's see.
How would you?
9.
How would you actually test this without having to look at it on the screen like this?
Sorry?
How would you have to test this if you had to do an interview, or sorry, if you had to write like some unit tests? Could you write some?
Oh, I should write some unit tests.
Yeah, let's like how would you write unit tests for this?
Obviously I'd print some. I'd run some assertions
Okay.
like on. Let's say this one, right? I'm gonna just use numbers that I know off the top of my head. So obviously 10.1 plus 9.2 should equal to should equal to 19.30. And this should run. Ooh. Did I? Okay. Okay, print. 10.1 plus 9.2 should be 19.3. Yeah, 19.3 because they're the same thing. Yeah, so yeah, I'd run it like that. But
Nice.
yeah, is it okay that some wait, that's fine, right? This
Yeah.
answer here. Okay. So add 2.3 2.2 is equal to 4.53333. Oh, sorry. 333. Yeah, it should be because 2 plus 2 is 4. Then we're adding this 2 here with this 3 here. And yeah, just like that. I'm gonna remove the print statements now.
All right.
We can run these cleanly. Okay. Is that all right?
Sounds good. Cool. We're pretty much at time. How was that? We have 52 minutes.
Question's pretty cool. Took me back to thinking about maths in primary school. Yeah, just putting it into code is a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple issues that were caught while going over the code again. So I was happy I caught them while going over the code again. So I think I did pretty well in designing the algorithm. Shot a couple off by 10 with the carry, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, let's think about this a bit. So my thing was, yeah, you definitely clarified it well, figured out that we had to do elementary math, noticed that we had to do a carry. I think there's the main thing that you could have done is just spend more time planning up front. There's a lot of things that you figured out while we were going, and a few of the times you had to make the mistake and then had to debug it on the fly. So a couple of those things were like with the carry, also with the different sizes. So I think you realized that after we were coding that they could be in different sizes on the decimal, but then you also need to handle it different sizes on the other side as well, not just the decimals. So I think definitely more planning up front. It would make the code a lot simpler and you'll run into a lot less bugs and you would have been able to implement it a lot faster.
Yeah,
Right.
100%. Like I saw myself realizing some things along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely should have put more time into thinking about the approach before going
Yeah.
in.
And then also when you're
100%.
working with trying to figure out why your algorithm is wrong, like break it down into simpler test cases. Because I think you had the 123.99 plus you had a big test case and then it was taking a while for you to debug it. So I gave you the prompt to just use the very simple 9.9 plus 9.9. And then you were able to debug and add the right print statement. So with a lot of these problems, you don't want to just pass in a massive test case. You just want to work with simple ones and make sure it works and then build it up from there.
100%.
Let's see.
Okay.
One thing to optimize would be how you're updating the results, because since strings is immutable, this could lead to O of n squared algorithm because you're adding plus equals dot here instead of doing a string
Yeah.
builder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would have been an optimization. I was gonna talk about that as soon as I finish this, but like plus equals just gets the job done for now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, one thing you could have done as well was when you got the input, reverse it right away. like simplify your code by reversing the two numbers right away so that you're working with the least significant digits. Suppose I was giving you non-decimals, right? It would make it would make your algorithm a lot cleaner if you reverse them at both at the start. So now you're working with the very first digits, and then you could just move from left to right instead of from right to left and handle all these edge cases, and then finally reverse at the end. So just thinking of ways to simplify the code, because you could get this thing done in a lot less lines, essentially, like more succinctly.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty much that was pretty much it. I think just definitely just more planning on the part. Don't try to code too early, because even I think the chat also mentioned that you start coding without fully having your approach down. There's few things you figured out only during your coding. So yeah, those are some things that you should watch out for.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, man. Sounds good, man. Thanks for taking the time out. Catch you next time.
Coolio. Peace
All
out.
right, see ya. Peace. All right, chat. There's a lot of sessions today. How y'all feeling? How was that stream? We'll get more of those coming up soon. What was your favorite part of the stream? I'm gonna chop those all up into their own videos. It's all coming together. What's everyone up to for the weekend? Yeah, I'm cooked. I gotta head to the gym soon. It's only 3:30. Let me see. How long was I live for? All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for hopping in. That was fun. Ramen, thanks for coming out. Good luck on your OpenAI stuff, but that was good. That was good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna keep pumping out videos like this, more live streams. We're gonna get into system design. Hope y'all learned something today. We're gonna try to keep getting more interesting guests over time, and Ishaan was pretty interesting. We're gonna keep getting more people like that here. But thanks for tuning in. I'll catch y'all in the next stream. Peace out.
This is not my main thing, really I'm a coder. Coffee stains and chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. LEETCODES, beast mode, 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 LEETCODES, beast mode. This is not my main thing, really I'm a coder. Coffee stains and chains, I am such a loner. San Francisco bases got me slowly taking over. I can't wait to show you that I'm gonna take it over. LEETCODES, beast mode, 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 LEETCODES, beast mode.